That hurt.
Then what is this thing?
Gio should never play for U.S. men's national team again because of the action of his parents.
What an idiot! Oh!
What type of Muppet does this?
It's Muppets. Absolute Muppets.
I'm not going to be the best person to give a whole explanation here, but that's...
Booty! Sig! Booty!
Fucking deal with it. What are we really doing?
Yeah, I can agree with that. A zebra in between a tarantula and an elephant.
Has been nothing more than a sham.
Yeah, we didn't play well, but you know what? At the end of the day, we got the job done.
It's going to be a good time for sure.
Oh, sex with the first cousin would indeed be incest. And
welcome to the Straight Red Card. And we are ready for the Battle Royale today with Tactical.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Whoa.
Yeah.
Again, welcome to Straight Red Card, the show where we don't encourage auto fellatio, but we do admire it.
Are you sure that's the name of our show anymore? Because I believe it's getting renamed in the chat.
It ain't the Straight Red Card anymore. It's the blue card. We'll get into the blue card. The straight orange. Yeah, we're going blue now. The last days of the straight red card before the blue card. Listen, we'll get into that ridiculous bullshit. It's ridiculous on a lot of levels, but I did want to apologize to Inverted, who blocked me on Twitter, because I found him rather self-pleasing. And I accused him of auto-fellatiating himself, which is, listen, I don't mind if you have a different opinion. And I even said to the other guy there, his opinion didn't bother me at all. I just don't like his fucking arrogance. So there you go. And so he blocked me because I even told him, that I admired his ability to self or auto-fellatiate. Auto-fellatiate. Now, there's a word you got to learn to spell. That's not something that just, you write on a chalkboard in an instant because the teacher called you up to put it on the chalkboard. All right. And, of course, the teacher's probably not going to ask you to spell auto-fellatiate.
What if you're writing it in cursive? It's okay then, right?
I guess you could get away with it. Just really messy.
Yeah.
Fellatiate. The turn in the background says, "Welcome to the Straight Red Card. Tech returns to debate the Reyna transfer, but the topic we all anticipate is the stepsister talk. What will Tech say? We must know his take on stepsister relations." We'll ask. I mean, I'm sure he won't mind replying, and he well knows that that's probably not one of his areas of expertise. So that's kind of ours. By the way, did watch the both of the semifinals for the Asian Cup, and have to say, auto-fellatiate. Yes. Mm-hmm. Well done. Fumar.
I would have spelled it with just one L, but I had that in my head.
No. Well, speaking of spelling, the word of the week, the last two shows, has been phallus, Brett.
Yeah.
Phallus. How do you spell phallus? Can you spell phallus?
Phallus.
Phallus. You looked that up. Would have been much funnier if you didn't know how to spell it.
I very much phonetically spelled phallus.
You thought about it for a while because, actually, when I was thinking about it the other day, because I said it so many times on one of the shows, I thought, is that spelled F-A? And I'm like, F. No. P-H? Oh, yeah. Phallus. So the word of last week was phallus. This week, the word of the week will be auto-fellatio or auto-fellatiate.
I'll show you how much I messed up the initial spelling. I didn't realize it was actually shipping 2 characters from Riverdale.
You did think it was with an F. I should never have given you any prompts.
I feel the same way with you, Derek, sometimes.
Yeah, I know.
Never let you know in advance, man.
I do have to say, good riddance to Jurgen Klinsmann, who everybody in South Korea apparently hates. The press hates him there. He did get the team to the semifinals, but they were favorites for the tournament. And you know what? Jordan just showed up with a better game plan, a smarter game plan. And with lesser players and lesser names won the game.
You take that back, BMR. You take that back. And
You
not a
look
Riverdale.
like the Riverdale type. The Riverdale? What is that? What's the Riverdale?
The TV show.
Riverdance? Something like a Riverdance.
Yeah, it takes place in the Archie series universe.
Archie.
Yeah, like the
Archie.
redheaded Archie.
Oh, not Archie Bunker. Okay.
No, the comic strip.
Archie, the comic strip. Okay, I remember that.
And from what I understand, there's magic involved. I don't know.
I don't know any. That's not the kind of show that would interest me at all. Also watched the Qatari versus Iran game. Another fun game to watch. These are the kind of games I hope we get in the World Cup. And again, I know the Qataris won it last time out, but they were not favored to win this game. Iran clearly has the better players. Although I will say this, that Afif guy, remember him, Akram Afif for Qatar? How is that guy not playing somewhere in Europe? Like, maybe he is. I don't think he is, though.
I don't think anybody from Qatar is playing anywhere besides Qatar.
Yeah. I mean, the guy's a really good player, and he is every time that I see him. He's probably one of the best players on the pitch. So maybe I think he started in Europe, or he was in Europe briefly, didn't make it, went back to wherever he is now, Qatar. But, you know.
Lipo's in the background, and man, he's got a new getup.
No shit.
He's here early for the fluff beeps.
I mean, he must be here.
No, it's not new. It's not new. It's just that this is not on, so it looks like it's new. But I already...
Go with the mood lighting.
Which one looks better?
Ooh, I like that.
Mood lighting.
That's more like the battle we're about to have.
It's almost as if I'm about to seduce you. Well, I wait, hold on. I can be a Sith Lord.
Nice.
He's gonna seduce us. That's kind of going along with the theme of phallus and what's the other word? It's autofellatiate that we've been having.
Ooh, now Filippo's a Palpatine, Ray Palpatine.
Should I get the hoodie?
I mean, if you want to.
He ignored my joke. He's all up on the anti Disney Star Wars, and I call him Ray Palpatine. He didn't say a word.
I couldn't even hear that. I heard Palpatine. I didn't hear the Ray part.
No,
all right.
I'm going all Star Wars.
All right. So this is a pro Disney show, I guess.
Nobody
the
likes
dark,
Disney Star Wars.
The darks, the
dark side is a pathway to many abilities.
You did see the movie.
Some considered unnatural.
We've been talking about quite a few unnatural things on this show already.
You got to be careful with me. Star Wars quotes from episode 1 through 6. I know all of them in order. It's disgusting. It's disturbing. I don't even know how I have a girlfriend with this. But I.
Zach, did you know that Gregg Berhalter actually tried out for Palpatine back in the day?
He looks like one.
This brings me back to the Triumph thing when it had all the nerds dressed up in Star Wars gear. And they were going to a convention, and he goes up to the guy dressed as Darth Vader, and he says, "Which one of these buttons calls your mom to pick you up?"
I'm gonna post a picture like this, Sith Lord.
Okay, perfect. Jose Reyes for $5 says, "Can't wait to see Filippo and y'all get into it. Here's to a good debate." Oh yeah, I'm imbibing. Brett?
Yeah, well. Almost out of this. I gotta go to my second in a sec.
Filippo doesn't really drink, so he's not going to be imbibing. You don't really.
I got coffee because after this stream here, I'm taking a shower, I'm sitting down, and I'm scripting. So I got coffee.
You don't have to stay for the whole 2 hours if you don't want to.
No, but I want to stay for at least a good hour here.
Okay.
You guys are going to give me some energy. Wake me up.
Oh, we'll give you some energy. All right. All right. By the way, I was asked to ask you this. Are you someone that other people could come to for stepsister advice? They literally asked us to ask you that in the chat.
Stepsister advice?
There you go. You answered it perfectly with the question mark. Yeah, well, this ended up nabbing Pete a few shows ago because some of our folks were in his chat and they super chatted him in stepsister questions. And he's like, "You guys are watching the wrong show. You need to be watching the Straight Red Card."
Well, that's the second or third time he got super chats for it.
Right. Because we have taken stepsister questions on this show. and he didn't know that. Joey, $4.99. Team straight red card tonight. All right, I'm with you, Joey. I'm sure that Tact has his supporters in the chat. There's no doubt about it. Hey, how was your travels? How was your travels, by the way, Felipe?
Mine, I went to North Carolina.
Where?
Like, I forgot the name of the place. It's like about an hour and a half north of Charlotte.
Okay.
My girl likes to ski. I don't ski because of my knee, so I didn't really go skiing. But I just, to me, it's relaxing, right? Going to the cold a little bit. Leaving Florida for a few days is not bad. I lived in New York for, how long did I live in New York? 6 years. So
me too.
Not a big fan of cold. You live in New York?
I did. I lived in West Point, New York. That's the site of the U.S. Military Academy. My dad was a professor there for 4 years. So I did live in New York. You know, that's about a good hour, 45 minutes outside of New York City.
I lived in Long Island.
Have you ever been to Montauk, the tip of Long Island?
I have not. I lived in Nassau County, so it was more towards Manhattan. Very big Jewish communities where I lived. Plainview, Syosset, Jericho.
For sure.
That's where I lived for a while. Spent my summers in New York City, but lots of fun. I miss New York. If it wasn't so overpriced and expensive to live there, and cold. I hate cold. It's cold as shit in New York. I can't deal with that shit.
Did you ever go to there's a market, a string of markets there called Herb's Markets on Montauk, or excuse me, on Long Island? And that's actually my great uncle's market store, and he's really known for their fresh meats. In fact, the shirt that they put out is "You can't beat Herb's meat." Like, you could have gotten a shirt that said "You can't beat Herb's meat" if you were out there. They sell them right there in the stores. Anyhow, he sold that off a few years ago for millions and millions of dollars. So he doesn't really do it anymore. But let's go to BX Gunner 81. There's no snow in Charlotte. Laughing out loud. 50s, 60s.
No, not Charlotte. The mountains after.
North. Yeah.
I wasn't at Charlotte. I said it was like 2 hours north of Charlotte, and it's on the mountains. There's definitely snow there because I saw it. There's
right.
I know what I saw. I know.
Hey, you know, during the winter in Indiana, we see snow at our ski resorts too, but usually that's artificially made.
So that you were in the Appalachians, probably.
Dude, I honestly don't know. They just told me. I drove. I went driving.
The answer is yes, Derek. Yes.
He just showed.
There are no other mountains over there.
Get in the car, Tack. Just get in the car. We're taking you places.
I just go, man. I just go. I just follow. Just where are we going? We're going there. Can I work from there? Is it relaxing? Am I safe? I'll go. I don't care. I like going to different places too, so I don't mind. Wherever you guys invite me, I'll go. Actually, I'm a little sketched out with Derek. I don't know what he would do. I would not go, or I'll put some type of tracker on my phone and let people know, maybe the FBI know about what's going on there. But
good idea. I can see you have a really trusting relationship with your girlfriend. She basically she does all the planning and you just tag along.
No, usually I do the planning for trips. It's just that I don't ski, so I don't feel like thinking about things when I'm going there. I don't ski.
Yeah.
I know how to ski very poorly, and I have bad knees, so I'm really afraid of skiing. That's the truth. I think it's fun. I've skied before, but with my bad knees, I'm a little scared of skiing these days.
Pick up snowboarding instead.
Isn't that worse?
No,
not really. It's
easier. The problem with skis is your legs are on two different skis, so it's easy for different parts of your knee to bend. Whereas on a snowboard, you're literally on one, and your knees stay in place. Like
I know what my problem is. I actually surf. So I went to Hawaii during the summer last year. It was wonderful. I used to surf in Rio, but the waves in Hawaii are way better than Rio to surf. They're more enjoyable. They're fat waves, so they last a bit longer. So you can go with the longboard. I don't like doing a sport like skiing too much because of all the clothes and equipment you have to wear. I'm used to playing soccer. We put shorts and a t-shirt. Surfing, we can just go shorts. What's going on there, Derek?
I got a bloody nose.
He's been hitting the powder as well.
You've already taken us out, and I haven't even started the show. I blew my nose.
Did I win already?
Yeah.
Is it the dark side? The dark side? Dark side.
Yeah. I got a bloody nose. I just blew my nose, and blood came out instead. All right. Too much Coke, apparently.
Good. Good.
So I'll be doing the rest of the show with some tissue in my nose. So, I don't bleed all over my face because that's what was going on about 5 seconds ago.
It would add from better kayfabe. Kayfabe, let me rephrase that. I almost said bad. Better kayfabe if you did have blood coming down your face, Derek.
Yeah, I know. It'd be better for the show. Spencer Darty, excuse me, for 369, Tac's favorite number. Tac for short needs to see the destination, Muncie, Indiana. Yeah,
nobody needs to see Muncie, Indiana.
It's not worth your trip. It's
not worth my trip.
Yeah, it's not worth anybody's trip. If you live in Muncie, I'm sorry. But
get
it's
out of
bad.
there.
Thank you for the 369, Spencer Doherty. All right. Well,
nice.
Before we
nice.
There we go.
Indeed. Yeah, there we
go. Before we get too far into it, Derek, can you pull up the bingo cards?
God, I'm bleeding all over myself. Jesus Christ.
Whoever had that on their bingo card's gonna win.
Oh, I need to
Derek
cover
has
this
a
up.
bloody nose.
I need to cover this up, right? All right, there you go.
Yeah.
Not a lot of
gloves. Our good friend Mitch Desi, he goes and makes us some bingo cards for the show.
What porn? Porn bot?
These are possible topics, and you brought that up today on Twitter, actually.
Yep. Even flow.
I'm just asking for them to get rid of the porn bots. Sometimes I'll tweet something. The first 3 replies, it's either a porn bot, a betting company, or a crypto scam.
Yeah,
one of the 3.
Well,
I
love it when the porn bots go back into your history. Derek, you can come back. Go back into your history and like pull up a tweet or a response to one of your tweets from like a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh shit, what's happening here? And
happens
like,
to me.
Oh, this was like literally a year ago.
Yeah, happens to me all the time, and I don't realize it. Like, why are they commenting on that?
2 feet elite. The red light is not for Nottingham Forest. I'm a Sith Lord today. I'm trying to.
He's letting everybody in Florida know that he's open for business.
I'm evil. I'm a nasty person. And you see Derek's nose. That's just the first thing that I'm doing today.
First one.
I'm just getting started.
Oh boy, it's perfect. I've never had a bloody nose live on the show before. Brett, where do you want to start this conversation? Here we go.
Here.
All right.
Great moments in CONCACAF history.
All right.
The same people that make this baby are the same people that make the CONCACAF Golden Cup.
CONCACAF?
It's like the North and South America CONCACAF, North and South America,
okay,
cup that the soccer teams play for.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's like a legit. I mean, these guys are good.
I mean, I can tell they're
not
pretty damn.
some,
They're damn good. They're damn. It's some good detail on that thing.
Oh God, it got
The
worse.
same people that make a CONCACAF cup make this golden baby.
I'm literally bleeding to death.
Well, what did I just watch?
2 guys who don't follow soccer talk about soccer.
Yeah, why is there a big golden baby between these 2 dudes?
I don't know. I kind of want that in my background now.
I'm bleeding to death.
Should we send a notification to these guys? Hey, when your podcast goes out of business, can you send that my way?
It's a little baby Buddha, isn't it?
It's not a baby Buddha. It's just a
baby
golden baby
beer cup.
Yeah, that looks kind of gross.
in front of like 2 dudes that don't know much about soccer.
And there's
he's like, man, that baby is very detailed. I don't know what he's looking at, man.
Except it's covering its crotch with a can. Oh, shit. Guys, I'll be right back. I need more tissue. I'm bleeding to death live on the show.
I swear it's not the dark side of the force. I
had the same conversation with my son a few days ago, Derek. You got to take tissue, you got to apply pressure so that it clots. And then once it's slowed down, then you start shoving shit up your nose.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
So I guess, did I win the debate just because I guess I won?
We'll let the whole of Twitter know that you beat up Derek.
Literally beat up Derek. He's like bleeding. Yeah.
Oh, look. God, really? This is the weirdest intro to a show ever.
All right, let's go. What else you got, Brett?
I
know we're going to get to this topic, topic, but I thought you had a few other things you want to share with Tac first.
We got to play
God.
our ad. We got a new sponsor for the show today, guys.
Is it Vaseline again?
It's not. You used all of that on your camera, apparently.
Vaseline.
Guys, I already gave him a bloody nose. What's next?
Dude, and it's a bad one. Like, this is one of those raining blood things.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Oh, God.
So here's our new sponsor for the show today, guys. I'm going to turn the volume down. This is who needs that much volume. Who cares if we hear the ad?
Oh, what the hell? All right. That was our sponsor.
You're sponsored by a condom company?
That's
yes, we are.
Serious cock block there. That kid.
He's sitting there going, should have worn a rubber.
Okay.
Should have worn rubber.
All right, Brad. We got some soccer topics for Filippo tonight. Just, a few of them. As I bleed to death live here on the show.
I think Filippo's that entertainment alone.
All right.
How about some Tony Miola talking about Copa?
Okay.
How about that? Mm-hmm. Let's talk about that.
All right, let's do that. What did he say? Former guest of the show, by the way, Tony Miola, back in 2012.
The Copa America for me is the time that they need something signature. I don't care if it's Brazil. I don't care if it's Colombia. We keep talking about Mexico matches being that signature win. I mean, we did this 20 years ago, the U.S. We did this 25 years ago. There's a reason why this 2-0, this didn't start like 5 years ago. This started 4 years. So
it started 5 years for Berhalter.
Did he just call this Colombian side a signature win?
I think he did.
He said he'll take it as a signature win.
I think that's a big win if we beat Colombia. I wouldn't consider that a signature win.
I'd agree.
This is not the Colombia from 1994.
Right.
Which lost to the U.S., by the way, like got grouped. But I'm just saying it's a good Colombian side, better than Mexico. And if we beat them at home still, it's quite remarkable. And but it's still one of those where it's we're not beating a team that's clearly the favorite in the U.S. and America. It's not like Uruguay, Brazil, Argentina. Any of those, if we it would be much bigger if the U.S. held a 0-0 draw with Brazil and knocked them out on penalty kicks than defeating Colombia 3-0. It would be bigger.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think what he's saying is, at this point, I'll take any big win moving forward.
I think that's what he's saying. Yeah.
And he's like, we beat the Mexicos. We split with Canada until last Nations League Cup. Our only big important win outside of CONCACAF was against Iran in the World Cup. I mean, all the other ones are just friendlies. Who cares?
Yeah,
so I think he's looking at going like this. I mean, it's a decently, it's a decent team in South America. I'll take that win. Sure, why not?
That would be great. And I think he's, you gotta settle for Colombia if that's all you're going to get too, because there's no guarantee, we're going to get Brazil or we're going to. Oh, shit. Is there any guarantee we're getting out of the group? No.
Well, if we don't, we got to fire Berhalter, because I'm sorry, the group has Uruguay, but it also has freaking Panama and Bolivia, and you're playing at home. You should absolutely get out of this group.
Panama's been decent lately.
But it's at home, and we're a better team than Panama. There's no excuses there.
I get it. No, I agree. There are no excuses. But that's why I'm saying, however, though, I don't think it's 100% because, well, Berhalter. That's simple as I can put it. I fully expect us to get out. I'm not one of those guys that's there going, oh, I hope he loses so we can get rid of him. Because guess what? Even if we lose, there's no guarantee he's leaving.
Have they announced the venues for us where we're going to be playing?
They have. We play, I think, first game in Atlanta. Then we play in Dallas, Atlanta, and then Kansas City.
How are the zoos there?
The zoos?
Will Berhalter be able to motivate his team to a win by taking him to a zoo and comparing him to an animal?
African dogs, baby. All right. Without zoos, where is Berhalter going to get his inspiration? That's true. I agree.
I feel like a little piece of Filippo died right there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you had to remind me of the African dogs, really?
A little piece of all of the team died when he said it live, being filmed. You could see them all kind of look at each other like, what did he just say? Atlanta has a nice zoo.
Any big city has a good zoo in the United States.
At least a good one, yes. Some have a great.
Hey, take him to Orlando. We'll take him to Disney's Animal Kingdom here. They have a nice zoo there, and can maybe take a picture with Mickey Mouse or something.
They still have Busch Gardens there in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have Busch Gardens too in Tampa. In Tampa, so it's like an hour from Orlando. We can take him there.
That's my first zoo when I was 3.
We can. What we can do is at the day of the game, we can take Berhalter to Busch Garden and just kind of leave him there in Tampa.
In the monkey exhibit.
Yeah, just leave him there and just completely forget about him.
Some kind of an albino monkey over here.
You guys see this? I can't stop bleeding. What is going
you can't
on?
Show that on you can't show that on a stream, man. You're gonna get us kicked.
Dude, it's not a tampon. It's just some tissue with blood on it.
I'm not 100% positive about that. All right, continue on.
Next item.
I'm okay that they've beaten those teams. Obviously, it's the one team I don't want to lose to is Mexico. But Gregg Berhalter has to take this team now to the next step. And I don't know that we've seen that just yet. I don't think we've seen a game where we've put our foot on the pedal and all of these guys that are playing at Milan and Juventus and, Gio was at Borussia Dortmund, but now in the Premier League, you get my point, right? All of these guys that are playing everywhere, like where's the next step? And I think that's Gregg Berhalter's challenge. And the next time he has an opportunity to show that he can do that as a manager, for me, is Copa America.
Yeah, it's obvious at this point, but that is obvious. What he's saying is obvious. I get the feeling and I get the sense that there are not a lot of believers out there as far as whether Gregg's going to be able to pull off anything spectacular. And I'm sure we're all three one of them.
Yeah, but what I'm wondering is, like, where were all these people that are talking now in the last cycle? Did he not need to get a signature win or anything in the last cycle?
Yeah,
because we got our asses whooped every time we played a very challenging team besides England, but that's more on Gareth Southgate more than anything else. Like Japan, we lost. Didn't we lose to Switzerland at one point in a friendly too? We lost
2-1, I think.
Yeah, we lost to Switzerland. He was playing legit back then. Where was everyone before? This is so obvious. What are they like? Sure, we're playing the freaking tournament at home. Our team is literally only worse on paper than Brazil, Argentina, and Uruguay. Outside of that, I'd say we're on par with Colombia, Ecuador on paper. So if we're playing at home, we're seeing right now in the AFCON, the Asian Cup, playing at home is a big deal. Qatar's making it to another final playing at home. Ivory Coast is playing at home. They made it to the final. It's a big deal when you play at home. The United States in 1994 got out of their group with a shit team. Sorry to all the players that I fully respect, but our team was not good. Got out of the group. My overall point is, where were all these people before demanding anything? Because it's not just about the signature win, because we could still get into this tournament. Let's say we get into this tournament, we finish in second by tying Uruguay, and then we lose to Brazil 2-0, and we play very well, but we lose to Brazil. That's fine. But the problem is, like, where's all the progress? Where was everyone the past 4 years or so with Berhalter? We never seen that. We barely qualified to the World Cup. They never spoke out. Now, all of a sudden, they're all parroting the same take. He's not the first one to say that. They're parroting the same take.
Yep.
The signature win. That's all they say now.
I can tell you where they were. They're too busy calling us all toxic.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I forgot. They couldn't criticize Berhalter and us at the same time. They had to pick one idiot. They picked these idiots first.
Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate, but I guess you could say, well, at least they're finally on board. But then you still had morons. I hate to say it, Lawless, but you were out there saying that Berhalter had to come back because he shouldn't lose the job because of what Gio's parents did. That's not a legitimate reason to ask or to demand or think someone needs to have the job.
I do think the way Gio's parents reacted to it was a
horrible.
problem. But I also think that maybe hiding domestic violence because his brother was also in the federation, he knew about it, and hiding all that probably is another issue there too. But Berhalter shouldn't be in charge, not because of his domestic abuse case. That's for the police to handle. He shouldn't be in charge because he sucks as a coach. That's literally the reason.
Yeah,
I think that was the biggest issue in the sense that he was most likely not going to get the job back because of that reason. Well, he may have gotten the job. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
we don't
there
know.
There been a bigger argument saying, like, guys, he shouldn't get the job because he sucks. Lawless was even a card-carrying one cycle club member.
Yeah, and he threw that card away.
I shipped his card out to him, and he cut it up on air.
Yeah, and in a totally unprincipled way, by the way. Saul Ice says, Brett, show this RN
right now.
These mainstream networks just copy off what the independent media says and then claim that they're not toxic after calling us toxic for what, 3 years now? At least.
Well, yeah. Well, and quite frankly, what it was is they're too busy saying that, you know, all of us were toxic. I mean, not necessarily me and Derek. For whatever reason, we got bypassed.
Yeah, we got a pass.
And that Pete, that Tack, you know, they're both incredibly toxic. Why are you hanging out with them? It's like, we don't give a guys. They're good people. 1, 2, we don't give a fuck.
Yeah, we don't care. This on this version of the show, we don't care.
Yeah, and
the thing is, what is also toxic? What are they trying to say about toxic? They have to put a clear definition of it. What do they mean by toxic?
There was no USSF circle jerk going on over here.
Well, but I mean, sure, you could say that it's too negative, but the implications at the end were most of the negativity was right.
That's
the problem. So was it was it you're too negative? I mean, I don't know, man. There's many things in life where you can be pessimistic about and tell the person, hey, something bad's gonna happen, something bad. You are overly negative, but then if something bad happens, were you just too negative? Were you overly cautious about it? Were you actually seeing issues? I don't know. It's just that they wasted too much time and focused on us instead of the actual issues. But they seem to be very reactionary when something goes wrong. Like now, all they talk about are they toxic right now for requesting the signature win? Is it toxic?
I mean, I guess not. But before this,
media 2-3 years ago, yes, I would say that.
Yeah, they were all dancing around the campfire in women's underwear, eating marshmallows and chocolate. And why? Why all of a sudden the change? Who burned the marshmallows and the crackers and the chocolate? So, and then after they realized something's not right at the campfire, the guys that they banned from the campfire are all of a sudden the guys that they're sounding a whole lot like, and they've taken off the women's underwear and they dressed up like real men, and they're actually having real opinions now. No offense to the ladies. So anyhow,
wait, who's having real opinions?
Well, they're having real opinions that sound a lot like they're parroting the opinions we were saying.
They're just parroting, and they all repeat the same opinions. They don't have anything original, all of them. They just repeat the same crap. They at first what we were called toxic, they're just parroting that. And all of them, they say the same thing. They use the same wording, signature win. It's like Jesse Marsh said that, and then
good job, Jesse.
Yeah, they just all say that signature win. I mean, Jesse Marsh probably should. Jesse Marsh, look, and the thing with signature win that I find funny, it's what I keep saying. The problem is not getting a signature win. We can go playing like crap and accidentally beat Brazil in a one-off match. We can do that. That doesn't mean jack crap. What matters is the progress you're making over the years. Right. One example of that is Jesse Marsh got a signature win with Leeds. Guess how that ended? He got a signature win, but it was shit. Everything else was shit. My overall point is that like no one criticized on the big picture, and they're like, all of a sudden, if I don't know, Brazil comes into this tournament playing like crap like they are, then we hold them to a 0-0 draw, beat them on penalty kicks. There you go, signature win. We're winning the World Cup. We beat Brazil. That's not how it works, man.
Yeah. Don't whip out the Vaseline just because of that. If that happens,
ultimately, the whole quote unquote signature win is just parroting stuff that we've been saying. Is that we've played nobody, we have no big wins. We've been saying that for years.
We just didn't say the word signature.
We didn't say signature win, and basically they're just taking. They may not necessarily like taking what we're saying, but we've been saying that for years. They haven't really beat anybody. Yeah,
apparently Jesse got upset at Davies and Conrad for letting him say it multiple times and not.
Well, maybe he should have done his homework. The guy,
as if he's from Qatar or something.
I mean, but okay, but Derek and Brett, let's be honest here. They probably should have interrupted and corrected him, because I had Herc on the channel 2 weeks ago, and Herc. He got the name of a club wrong that one of the players played. I think he accidentally said that Sargent plays for Nottingham Forest. So I corrected him there, and he's like, oh crap, yeah, Norwich. He fixed it right away. because sometimes you just say it and you don't notice. The thing with Herc was I corrected him, and he's cool with that. They probably should have interrupted Jesse Marsh. Said, Jesse, it's Eunice, and Jesse would have just gone, "Oh yeah, Eunice Musa, not Yusa," because he knows it's Eunice. It's just so I would hope.
We all host live shows. We occasionally screw up.
Yeah,
we have that issue all the time, and we have BMR in the chat to correct us every time.
Every time he does, he is there.
And I can't speak German.
No, well, you're working on it. It's getting better.
It is. No, you're getting better.
Or Gaga's team.
By the way, you don't have.
That?
I don't know if you say Kern, which is Cologne. Cologne. It looks like Cologne to you, but in German it said Köln. That's how it's pronounced in German. And Bayern Munich, really, that's that British way. It's in Germany, it's Bayern München. We don't say Munich in Germany. But anyhow, Brett,
we're Americans. We'll say how we want, okay?
Exactly, I get it. Brett,
what about Eupen?
Eupen. Oh, we gotta listen. I've been coming at you and Pete now for several weeks, multiple weeks, saying you can't say Eupen. It's Eupen. Eupen. You're gonna fix that on the show.
Eupen. It's like I'm a pirate. Oi.
Oi. Yeah.
An Irish pirate there. Yeah. Oi.
Yeah. Oi. Brett Oppenheim. Brett Oppenheim for $20. Thank you, my friend Brett. Hey, we love you. Sorry we couldn't make it along with Pete and Tack to Austin, but thank you for the invitation from Pete and Tack. The relevance of the mainstream media is dying, not just in sports or porn. Proud more U.S. men's national team fans watch you all and all your colleagues on YouTube way more than mainstream media. I don't want to say that's true because I don't have the numbers to prove it.
I've got a couple of goal articles to pull up later on, and it pains me how horrible that site is.
Yeah.
Well, the thing, he's probably right about mainstream media. You look into the like morning Golazzo show. Who's watching that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like no one. Like okay, not no one. Someone's watching.
I
do watch Paramount Plus mainly for the Champions League, obviously European leagues too, the Serie A. Yeah. But the punditry there. No offense to the people that work there. It's just. It's not crap. It's just. I don't know. It's just very boring to me. That's
Maxwell took them to task.
Well, because they were a little disrespectful, right? I'm gonna go on here, and I'm not gonna go and like I'll troll the Asian Cup, and I know half of Asia came after me this week, but I don't go on and pretend to be an expert. They're covering. They have the rights for it, and they didn't know like guys. Seriously, Japan and South Korea. I grew up knowing they hate each other.
I know.
I didn't need to know the nationals. Like, guys, there's a lot of history there that we know of, and they don't get along, man.
Buy a map, motherfuckers. Buy a goddamn
map. There was like the Japanese Empire. There's a lot of shit that happened, man.
Yep. There's 1905 when basically they annexed all of South Korea, Japan. So there's history there for crying out loud. And they're literally a hop, skip, and a jump away from each other. And they're top two teams in Asia, typically.
But there's no rivalry between China and Japan, though. They're good. They're good.
No, that's horrible too. But China sucks, so it doesn't matter. All right, we got to get to this main topic because, No,
I have a different topic. I want some of Filippo. You're a coach, right? You coach kids?
Okay, all right. You got to coach.
I've coached. Yeah, I still work a little bit. I've coached with Orlando. Yeah.
I want your opinion on this drill and tell me whether or not it's good and we should implement this across the board of U.S. soccer.
Oh, God, this is going to be good. What is the spread?
Go. Scarp, come on. Scarp. Oh, he's gone over. Here he is. Who's first to it? Strong. Out from your feet. Okay.
What's the point of this drill?
Speed.
It's about speed. It's about shooting on goal.
Speed.
Quickly. Good touch.
Essentially, who's faster gets the ball and gets a one-on-one at the goalkeeper.
But these shots are horrible.
Oh.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, one of them scored. All right.
He was like 5 yards away from the goal. Of course he was going to score.
I mean, it's kind of like one of those where it's not a bizarre drill by any means, but it is pretty stupid. Yeah. It's not a bizarre. I've seen worse, but it's just like I don't get why.
What's your biggest irk on it? What do you dislike most about it?
I just don't get it. One of the players is just not doing anything besides. You want everyone to get some type of involvement with the game. One of them is just running. Ideally, what you'll do is you just get the guy to run there, put one team on the other side, and have a 1v1. That way, you have a guy playing defense, some pressure on the guy on the ball. Figure it out. But I don't just know, or just remove the guy. Just have him do the drill, run, and finish, so everyone can get a shot. The players that are slower won't touch the ball in this drill. That's the problem.
You're missing the point of the drill is to humiliate the slower player.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
It's faster. No, so my biggest gripe here, and this is the same gripe I had when Jackson was playing. Any year he was playing rec, is the coaches have two lines of players they were not doing anything. They're sitting there twiddling their thumbs.
Yeah, too much sitting here.
I dislike that long of a line. I'm not a coach by any means, but I dislike that long of a line.
Yeah, but you were a player.
Yeah. Well, and especially at that age, maybe a little bit younger even. The kids back here are pushing each other. They're picking flowers off the ground.
Smoking a joint. You never know.
I guess there's how we get there, but yeah. But it's just like, well, I guess what do you want me to do? You want me to watch this kid who's running faster than that kid and shank the ball wide?
Yeah, we never had lines this long because the offense was sometimes separated from the defense. So there were never groups where you'd have like this, which is like 15, 18 players standing in line watching two players go.
Yeah, I think it's what I said. The drill is not like bizarre. It's not like something that we've seen. That it's not the worst. Okay, one player is actually practicing maybe a fast break and a 1v1 with the goalkeeper, but there's no point on keeping 10 players waiting like that and also not working on both. I don't know, man. It's not a drill I would probably ever do. I don't think it helps much.
Maybe should.
Didn't you have the Clibans on your show, or one of the Clibans?
I had Brian.
Okay.
Brian.
All right. Well, I give you props for that because, well, anyhow, we'll move on.
That's why Seven says never have kids waiting in long lines like this.
I mean, Brian's a good talk, though. I'll tell you that. It's a good.
No, I enjoyed the show. I mean, and for me, it was like, thank God, like you were able to show us a different side of him, because the only side I've ever seen of Brian, this is going back a long time, he's kind of an asshole. So I'm giving you props for that. He's always
been cool with me, Brian and Gary.
Yeah.
Haven't interacted with them too much outside of like the episode I had with him, and I interacted with Gary when I interviewed Alvarado, and he was very cool with me, helping set it all up, and never had any issues with them, to be honest, with both Clibans.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know. And I even said on X this week, I think that they've turned a leaf, and I think you might have helped them do that. Yeah. Class E license, the lowest level would never permit this. Yeah, I don't know.
Last thing I'm going to say on this is, if I was this coach, you can't see my hand. If I was the coach here on the left that's up by the halfway mark, that's standing doing nothing, I would take those kids in the orange pennies and go off on the other half of the field and go do something separate.
I don't even know what that other.
The coach here who's kicking the balls, take these kids and do a shooting drill. But I would not do this.
No. So. All right.
Well, I would just also try to understand, like, what exactly is he preparing for? Like, fast breaks there. So is he practicing the players for that? Is that something that consistently helps with his team? I don't know, man. It's like I said, I've seen bizarre drills. That one's not bizarre by any means. It just doesn't really seem very productive.
That's the humiliation drill for the slow kids. Laverdad says, which always sounds like Loverdad to me, which is weird.
La verdad.
La verdad. So, you're helping us pronounce shit. This drill is called the Get Burnt Brooks drill. Get Burnt Brooks drill. All right. Yeah. I mean, there's been some of that this season. There's no doubt Brooks has been burnt a few times this season. Yeah, he's not the fastest guy. I'm seeing Zion Suzuki being blamed for Japan's Asian Cup failure, despite the fact his best game was against Iran. Japan's defense was open as a 7-Eleven. They're not always open, by the way. The Stars collectively flopped, and Moriyasu is all notebook, no notes. The lazy narrative wins once again. But you got to understand why they're all blaming Suzuki. And we warned you about this 2 years ago or a year ago when we talked about him making the decision to play for Japan. There is a long history in Japan of anti-foreigner. If you're not Japanese, you're probably going to have a problem, especially if you're a mixed race, etc. They're a homogenous society, and they don't like outliers outside of the homogeneity. So yes, they're very racist. I'm sorry. I just said it.
Zach,
There's a lot of racism in Japan.
I plead the fifth.
Well,
I figured it out, guys. I know why he's getting so much hate. It's because he uses sporks to eat.
He deserves it then. I think he deserves it. If that's the case, he should. What do you guys use to eat? Your fingers? That's what you should use, right?
Listen, I just want to make sure people know that the fork was invented in Asia. Okay? So it's not like...
So instead they choose to eat with sticks.
Not all of them do. Wrong.
Who invented... But who invented a spork?
A spork was invented.
That's definitely an American.
That's more of an American thing. But definitely. I do like the handiness of a spork. If you need to, drink soup and make sure you catch a noodle in that soup at the same time. All right, Brett, are we moving on to the Battle Royale yet?
We're totes moving on, Derek. We got things to talk about.
Okay.
I made the mistake of showing Derek this topic, but Filippo, you mentioned this on Twitter recently, and I want to talk about this a bit.
Blue cards coming to football. Oh God, yeah. This is all you guys. I don't really give a fuck, because you know what? In the end, this is all going to be tested. It's like the 6th division in fucking Slovenia somewhere, and then we'll get a report, and they'll go, "Yeah, that's not going to work in the 5th division," and then it'll be over. I think personally, I hope that's what happens. I may be wrong. You guys take it away.
It's like Derek took my my suggestion earlier and just saying, "Hey, don't say anything," and he said something.
I know I should have said anything.
The worst, Derek. All right, so Blaze talks about how blue cards are coming to football, and he talks about how there's you get a blue card. It's gonna be 10 minutes for dissent or a cynical foul. 2 blue cards equals a red card.
Why 10 minutes, not 2? Like hockey?
They really want to make you think.
10 minutes is a lot of time. That's like 10%. That's over 10%.
Oh,
of the game.
Shit.
So I had this conversation with both Lawless and Winalda, and I'm bringing both of them up here in a second. But I'm like, with Lawless, I was like, here's my suggestion. When you get the blue card, you got to go off the pitch. In order to get back onto the pitch, you got to solve a Rubik's Cube.
You got what?
You got to solve a Rubik's Cube.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I'd fuck that up.
And I changed it up because I realized that most people won't be able to complete that. So when I was talking with Winalda later, I was like, hey, maybe they can get to like the 10th round of Simon Says, or at least win the best 2 out of 3 of rock, paper, scissors.
So you're mocking this rule?
I'm absolutely mocking it. Yeah.
I think it's a garbage rule, and I can start with one question right away about this rule. Right away. What happens if your goalkeeper gets are goalkeepers like incent of it? They won't get a blue card? They're safe?
Yeah.
What if they get a blue card? You have to put a field player on goal for 10 minutes. You have to make a sub.
Mm-hmm.
How does that work? That's the first thing. So goalkeepers can't get it, so they can use dissent and cynical fouls. How is it going to be implemented? It's also another thing for the ref to like, I guess, interpret the play, because it's open, right? It's not clear what a cynical foul is, and you can't really make it clear. It's just like the handball rule. When it hits the hands, like, oh no, was it a handball? Was it not a handball? What? It's just one more element for the ref to fuck up.
Here's the problem, though. I was going to say the problem is the cynical foul. Like if I were playing and I fouled and made every foul I made would be cynical, because I'm a cynical son of a bitch.
No,
so what? Am I going to get a blue card every single time?
You only get 2 fouls there, Derek.
Well, my question is, what is this solving? That's the question.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because again, if you're going to say, oh, cynical foul, dissent, or stopping a counter, whatever it is, you give him a yellow card. Oh, now he's wasting time, so give him a blue card. You know how you solve that? Stop the freaking clock. You can literally change the game by just stopping the clock. My question is, what is the blue card solving? That's
nothing,
my question.
Really. Nothing.
I mean, when it comes to dissent, quite frankly, as a player on the pitch, can you get 1 yellow, 1 blue, and still be fine? Or does that equal a red card?
A whole rainbow of cards.
Does it require you to get 2 yellow or 2 blue in order to count as a soft red? But the cynical fouls, though, it's generally speaking, when the interpretation of the ref by cynical foul would be a straight red at that point.
Yeah, that's my point. I don't know. Like
oh, you get a blue card. Fuck it. You're back in 2 minutes.
yeah, how do you? It's just one more thing for the ref to fuck up and not be consistent. They like England hasn't figured out how they're still losing the battle to the VAR, the Premier League. Every freaking weekend they get punched in the guts by the VAR, which is the easiest thing to manage because you can literally look at the video recording and and there's like 4 refs looking at it. Now you're gonna add this to the refs. This is not gonna. I don't know, man. I just don't like it. I know that the yellow card and the red card were introduced a long time ago because I think it was more of like because Pele was constantly hacked. That was one of the reasons early in Pele's career. You didn't have the yellow and the red card, but the yellow and the red card are very basic and easy to understand. Yellow card is a warning. If you do something annoying, if you do a hard foul that's not too bad, you get your warning. Red card is when you do something way out of the line. You cross that line. So usually there's not many debates on that, on yellow cards. And then red cards, sometimes there's a little bit of debate if they were harsh or not. Now we're adding a third element to this BS, and I can't seem to really figure out what it's solving.
Can you imagine the refs carrying around like 6 cards in their pocket? They're like, oh, that was a green. What? What's a green? Nope, this time it's an orange. Oh, now you got a blue. What the hell is going on here?
No, they're just like, wait, did I give this guy a blue card or a yellow card before? Oh, I forgot. I don't know, man. I don't know. What's the difference also? Don't we already give yellow cards for fouls like that?
Yeah, exactly. Brett.
The whole argument is stupid in that sense.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Brett Oppenheim. I'm just kidding, Brett. Oppenheim. But Eupen is what we're trying to get across here. $20, my friend. Thank you so much. We do appreciate it. Also, this new MLS rule making players sit out for 2 minutes if injured for 15 seconds. Huge implications. I imagine players hate it, but fans will love it. Faking and exaggerating injuries is maybe the worst part of the game. And it kind of has been for a long time. I mean, that's been the one criticism that, all the football, like American football guys make, or the baseball guys. They're like, oh, you guys are a bunch of wimp pansies out there.
Yeah, but football stops every 15 seconds, the game.
I know.
You need to field whenever you need to.
Well, I told you, the best solution is just stop the clock. Instead of using 45 minutes, do 30 minutes stopping the clock. If the guy's rolling around wasting time, it doesn't matter. You stop the clock.
Yeah, I agree.
Here's the thing. If you have to call anybody out, a physician or whatever the medical aides there are, they come out, they have to inspect them, they have to take them off the pitch. Once he reports to the 4th official, then you start your 2 minutes. At that point, the 4th official lets him in at 2 minutes.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. If you're going to do this, yeah, might as well.
All right.
Yeah, also, look at what Brett is saying is also like, look at this. This is true. 15 seconds on the floor. Let's say the guy got actually kicked on the shin and it hurts very badly. And he's like trying to recover from it. And he's like, give me 30 seconds here, bro. Okay, you're going to have to go out for 2 minutes. Like, dude, I literally just got kicked.
Yeah.
So you're essentially incentivizing players like Miazga, for example. Let me just kick Messi very harshly on the shin, which is not a red card. And then Messi has to stay for 30 seconds on the floor, recover. He's out for 2 minutes. What is this nonsense?
What if the ref does that like a boxing thing? He goes 1, 2,
guys,
you're out of here.
You're missing the whole thing. Miazga's not doing that. What if he grabs Messi's testicles, which is much more likely, and gives him a squeeze? And then listen, I'm sorry, but even a gentle, not so gentle squeeze,
you're gentle grazing.
You're down. And now you're going to have to sit out for 2 minutes because Miazga grabbed your fucking testes? Really? That's how we're going to do
walking around going like this the entire time?
Personally, I hope no players grab each other's testes in the middle of the game.
Matt's done it twice.
Yeah, you never know. He might. Yeah, you never know.
Like, listen, though, back in my day, in the 80s, I'm sorry, but soccer was dirty. I'm sorry. Defenders were dirty, and they punch you in the nuts when the ref wasn't looking.
My day.
Yeah.
Didn't Cavani get fingered once?
Oh God.
Little finger. Whoop. Yep.
No, seriously, I'm not joking. Look it up. Cavani got fingered.
Yeah, I'm not typing that on Twitter, Lipo.
Is that a movie? That should be a movie.
No. You guys think
wasn't it? There.
I don't know if I want to also search this on Google because this will be on my Google search history. But I am 99% sure Cavani got fingered in a game. It was like a big scandal.
Penetrated. actually.
I'm waiting for the chat
penetrated in the
catch up
game.
here
I'm
in a
not
second.
Oh
joking.
my god!
I'm pretty positive that was accurate. Yes, but
yeah. No, I'm sure you're right. I mean, I'm not looking it up, but yeah. All right, we got to get to this topic, Brett,
Here we
because
go.
he's not going to be around forever.
it was versus Chile.
I
in
told
Copa
you he got
America.
fingered against Chile.
Yeah.
Cavani got fingered.
No, Derek, we're not moving on to that just yet.
Holy shit, Brett! You had
I wanted
you
to,
have the.
I wanted I'm gonna smack
Right,
you around.
Go ahead.
So Lawless apparently loves the blue card. The blue card will be shown for dissent and preventing a promising attack, and resulted in a 10-minute trip to the sin bin. I hate that name, by the way. I know it's used in other terms. I know it's used in other sports, but whatever.
Sin bin.
2 blue cards or yellow and a blue would equal a red. I think it provides a powerful new tool to curtail some major problems in the game.
Do we have to cover the stupidity any longer? Because this is the dumbest.
I think we
thing
gave
I've
Lawless too much airtime already. Move on.
Yeah, this is the dumbest thing I've
But
read all
Lawless likes
day.
it, guys. I'm pointing this out that there's
Only
multiple
Fox
people,
is dumb
multiple
enough to
opinions.
give him that much airtime. I prefer Ronaldo. Keep him there.
Yeah, exactly. 10 minutes. You think these guys are I almost said stimulating. Simulating now? Wasting time will be the problem. It may escalate out of control. What happens with multiple blue cards to multiple players? Yeah, confusion, chaos. That's what happens. 8 versus 8? No, wait, 9 versus 8. Now it's 11 versus 9. Nope, back to 10 versus 9. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
The fourth official is going to have to sit in like, well, no, you got 7 minutes left. You got 5 minutes left. No, you got 3 minutes left.
You got to hire like 3 more refs just to keep track of all the fucking yellow cards, blue cards, orange
Just hire
cards.
a freaking guy for the clock and stop the freaking clock.
Yeah.
That's it. One guy just to pause it. Oh, it's out. Pause it. We know how to do that with basketball. We know how to do that with football.
College soccer does that. Ball goes out of bounds, they stop the clock. Gets thrown back in, they start the clock.
I am sitting in dry blood.
At least they used to. I don't know if they still do, actually.
A dry
Keith Costigan says blue card ridiculous, change for no reason, adding another element in for referees to figure out. No need to change here.
Another former guest of the show making a good point. Thank you.
You should reach out to Keith, see what he's up to.
He's calling games. I haven't talked to him for years.
So, speaking of which, I did my rounds to make, I followed up with Jimmy, I followed up with Max. But I'm like, oh, geez, I should probably follow up with Meg too. When I went back to Meg's conversation, she's like, hey, I'm busy in the near future, but reach out to me in a few, And
Right.
It's been a year. It's been a year since I reached out to her last.
Oh,
So
great.
I'm like, hey, I gave you space and time. What about soon?
He's talking about Meg Swanik, by the way. Meg Swanik is a great journalist. All right.
But
what else
FIFA
we
comes
got?
in for the claim here. FIFA wishes to clarify that reports on the so-called blue card at elite levels of football are incorrect and premature. Any such trials, if implemented, should be limited to testing in a responsible manner at lower levels, a position that FIFA intends to reiterate when the agenda time is discussed on March 2nd.
All right, we've waxed this long enough.
Blue card, this whole craziness today on Twitter,
but
it was
Brett,
everywhere.
Brett, so other Brett Oppenheim, he said, you're all missing the point of the blue card here. It's for more goals. So it's literally the Alexi Lala's way. Look, here's the interesting thing.
Yeah.
I think the sport is all about goals. That is true. And that's why I always advocate for attacking soccer. I always praise the forwards more than the defenders. But the most important thing in soccer is to not have more goals by design and have more goals just because you're better, which is what I criticize MLS so much about. It's like MLS having bad defending. It's okay if the defense looks bad because the offense is so good. But having bad defending by design, or in this case, for the blue card, is just you're going to have like 11 beat 9, or the field, or not even, just the odds of having more goals on a 10 beat 10 is also higher because you have more time and space. There's less players on the field.
Yep.
It'll probably have more goals if you do that. I just think it could end up being a shit show. If you want to do, if they want to go that, just make 10 beat 10 instead of 11 beat 11.
Make the goal twice as big if you want a lot.
The entire width.
Just remove the goalkeeper if you want more goals. Put the guy can't use his hands anymore. No
Or
goalkeeper.
the goalkeeper has to be a midget.
A
small person.
Can still use. Can still use his hand,
Small
but
hands. Smells like cabbage.
Or I don't know, just have your goalkeeper be over 40.
Filippo, you were getting tagged a lot.
Okay, wait. So he said what he said was, man, you guys should ask if Brett wants to join the show. He can debate, like we can all talk about.
Just let us know.
He's a good talker, soccer. We talked a lot there about soccer. He's saying they want to prevent fouls, then stop within. I guess, but Brett, they still have cards for that. Like if someone stops a moment in transition where you're going on a 1v1, for example, that's a red card, not a blue card.
Right.
So they already have that punishment. I would like for whoever, like FIFA or whoever's in charge of making up this rule, to explain this is the problem we saw, and this is what we're seeing that is a possible solution. Because I'm not understanding what it's solving right now. Because the yellow card is already a punishment, the red card is already a punishment, and it's not going to help with time wasting. That's still going to be a disaster. So I don't know what they're trying to do.
How many little steps do we need to take? I mean, listen, you got the yellow, you got the red. How many little tiny steps in between those things do you need? Really, it's ridiculous.
Oh, wrong one. When Tyler Adams stopped Bale in the World Cup, you mean Zimmerman?
But yeah, he did that with Bale. It was Tyler, not the penalty kick. He stopped.
Okay.
Actually, I don't. Was it Tyler? Or was it Acosta? Actually, it was Acosta.
The World
Wasn't
Cup?
it Acosta?
God, I would really have to go back and think.
I think it was Acosta, Brett. But here's the thing. They're saying you already, like, isn't it 2 blue cards is a red card? Isn't that what they said?
2 blues equal red, and even Lala said 1 blue and 1 blue and 1 yellow equal a red.
Yeah, so it's just like the yellow, but you put the guy off the field. And also, how are they always going to be able to determine that? Sure, it was Acosta. See, Acosta did that, and it was obvious, but it's not always obvious. That's the problem.
And by the way, playing with a yellow if you're a defender, especially, is a pain in the ass, because you can't get
that
another
is a problem.
That you already can't do anything ridiculous. You got to be really careful about your tackles. You got to be careful when your timing. Listen, it is a deficit to have a yellow card and be a midfielder or a defender, somebody who knows you only got one more chance. So if you screw up again, you're up. So it's already sort of it's already
that's my point. It's like I'm trying to figure out what is it. Also, we're talking about a situation like, for example, the Acosta one. These are very unique situations that don't even happen every game. So if it's something so tiny, what exactly is the goal of this blue card? Because if they're going to create the blue card to use it once every 10 games, it's like, why are you bothering even adding something else to the ref if it's something that's now time wasting is something I would love for them to resolve. It's a major issue that has to be resolved. And the only logical solution I can find is you, instead of 45, you cut it down to 30, 2 30-minute halves, and you stop the freaking clock. You have someone there, and it's resolved. The guy wants to roll around on the floor and CONCACAF and do all you want. We're stopping the clock, so you're still gonna have to play the game.
That would stop it right then and there, wouldn't it?
They did stop the clock in the 80s in high school soccer. So there you go.
Guys, I'm gonna send Brett the link. Is it okay if he joins?
Yeah.
I'm asking here because then it forces you guys to say yes.
No.
Cheeky.
We would never say no anyhow. All right, are we getting to the main?
Well, so Derek, you were complaining about that topic all the way into the show itself.
The blue card.
And yet here we are. We talked about it for a good 15 minutes, and there was good talk outside of the actual content itself. So
yeah, but I am as flaccid as ever. That's the problem.
I don't really care how hard you get during the show, Derek. That's not my shtick. As far as I know, you dig chicks.
I do dig chicks.
There you go.
But I'm not basing.
I'm just saying. Hopefully, my communicating to you doesn't actually get you rock hard. That's all I'm saying.
No.
What are we? I like zoned out for a second. We're talking about flaccid and.
Well, this topic makes me flaccid, Tack. I'm sorry. It just doesn't excite me. The
Very,
blue card thing. But we did talk about it for 15 minutes, surprisingly. So Brett was correct by having it on the show. By the way, Brett does most of the planning for the show. So he decides what the topics are and what we talk about. So,
right,
credit to him.
Leading into the show, leading into the topic itself, we're talking about Reyna here in just a few. We have other topics, but let's get this one under the belt so Derek can have another bloody nose.
Oh, no, I think it stopped. It stopped, but I got a pool.
Another bump? You got another bump down there?
I got a bloody pool of dry blood underneath me. All right, after the season, the club wants to sort itself out, reorganize, and set up a clear correction of the squad is to take place. This seems dramatic. You've got a lot of great players at Dortmund. I don't think the players are the problem. I think it's the fucking coach. Am I wrong?
Well, I don't know if they're necessarily talking about the players there. They're talking about the organization as a whole.
a clear correction of the squad. I guess that could,
you're right.
I mean, if you look at Dortmund's standards, you go back, they failed with better play. Like this is a team that literally had Jude Bellingham and Erling Haaland at the same time and couldn't win a single trophy. Well, I guess, did they win the Pokal? Maybe, I don't remember.
They might.
I remember
have won the
Gio lifted the Pokal at some point, so maybe.
Yeah,
I do think there's a lot that needs to change with Dortmund, because they used to be a team that you would look at and you would at least say, you know what, they can give Bayern some trouble. This Dortmund side, even without Terzic, I don't see it.
That's the change, though, right? Because they made the change. They went from a team that predominantly in the attack, midfield, and attack, went from a very youthful side that they aimed to build up and then eventually sell, quite frankly, and a very experienced back line, to being an average age of about 26 now, or 27, 26, 27. They've got a very aged midfield and even into the attack. So they've gone away from their roots as far as having a very vibrant and
24,
23
year average. Yeah,
so
I agree. I mean,
I see the clear correction being, hey, we're going to go back to our roots. This is what worked for us in the past. Us trying to do what other teams do isn't working.
Just get rid of Terzic.
I think it's going to be the big thing, and then it's going to happen. We talked about it,
and I'd say hire
hire
Fabian Herzler, but since St. Pauli is definitely coming up from 2 Bundesliga, they're not going to get Fabian Herzler. He's going to stick around and try to guide and hold St. Pauli
possibly pony that money up.
Have you, by the way, Tact, studied it all, Fabian Herzler in the 2 Bundesliga at St. Pauli? He's an American coach. People don't know that, but he's another American.
I honestly haven't. Can't really say much.
Brett Oppenheim.
Now we got two Bretts.
We got two Bretts.
I'm V Brett, so there should be less confusion here.
What's up, Brett? How are you doing?
Good to be on. What's up, Tack? What's up, Brett? What's up, Derek?
Hey. How you doing there?
Great to have you.
I disagree with you guys. That's why I'm jumping on.
Okay.
You're pro blue card?
I'm pro blue card, and I'm pro the 2-minute rule in the MLS.
I'm fine with the 2-minute rule. Being an injury, you get pulled off the pitch, 2 minutes, get brought back in. I'm cool with that.
The reason they're throwing these out there is to help what's wrong with soccer. And I look at soccer from a more new school perspective than you guys, because I didn't grow up with it the way you did. So I'm less like, and I argue with my friends from England and Brazil all the time, because they're more old school. So maybe that is an advantage. Maybe that's a disadvantage to my perspective. I really don't know. Maybe in 15 years, I'll look back and be like, I was an idiot for thinking any of this. But right now, I feel like a lot of the things that some of the old school people don't like, I think are going to be great long-term for the sport.
I think that with the old schoolers like me, I look at the game and see there already are solutions to some of these issues, and they don't necessarily need that kind of tweaking. So I guess, it is an old school, new school thing, and that's fine. But
let's get specific. Like, we're talking about the blue card now, because we're all on board with the 2-minute rule. So we'll just debate the blue card for a second.
I think the 2-minute rule is something is a hill I'm not going to die on against it. It's not a big issue, 2 minutes, because again, also if you're injured, you got to get checked, and it's a way to make players, if they fall, they'll get up quicker, I guess. So it's fighting even though I think there's better solutions to it, I wouldn't oppose to that. The blue card, what I'm trying to understand the blue card is this. There's plenty of issues in the game that I'm open to changing for us to improve. We talked about how Pele, when he started his career, there was no yellow or red card. They added it because players were getting hacked and harassed on the field. So I'm open to changes and improvements. I'm pro VAR, for example, that many of the old school guys hate. I love VAR. It's not perfect, too. But there used to be so many mistakes in this game. My question to the blue card is, what's the goal with it? What is it actually resolving? And if it's resolving that, is there not a better solution to it?
I would say I don't think there's a better solution. And here's what I think it's resolving. First of all, I don't think there'll be many blue cards. So let's not go crazy about 10 on versus 8. Never going to happen. There might be a blue card every, if I had to guess, 3 to 5 games. 1 blue card every 3 games, let's say. Mm-hmm. And the more that they're issuing the blue cards, the less blue cards there will be, because players will learn. So it's not going to be a common occurrence at all, first of all. Secondly, I would argue that it is solving a small problem, in that a yellow card is clearly not sufficient to disincentivize players from stopping good goal scoring opportunities, not red card opportunities, but still good goal scoring opportunities where they'll grab a guy who's running, past them, and it's gonna give more offense to the game. It's gonna give more goals, more. Think about how many times as a player you see a fullback, streaking down the sideline with the ball, and you're like, oh shit, this is gonna be good, and then somebody just tackles them, just to stop the play. How many times does that happen? If that happens 50% is less, I will be so happy as a fan.
But you usually get a yellow card for that.
I know, but a yellow card is not sufficient to disincentivize it, clearly, because it happens all the time.
So you're arguing that the blue card would predominantly be against professional fouls. Whereas,
yes, it's only going to be against
take it to stop the play.
Clear goals. It's not so clear that it's a red card. It's not like it's a one-on-one and someone grabs you from behind. It's when somebody's like, when the winger is streaking past you and you're beat as a defender, and it's a 3-on-3 or a 3-on-2 or something where you like sit up in your seat and you're like, oh shit. At that moment, when they always get tackled from behind or whatever, or tripped or whatever it is, and the defender gets a yellow card, that's not going to happen as often because they're going to know they might have to sit out for 10 minutes, and we're going to have more goals and more of those moments where you start to get out of your seat and be like, oh shit, this is going to be good, are not going to end with a stupid tackle where you're like, ah.
So Brett,
I have one thing though. One thing. For example, let's use you pulled an example of a blue card, the Acosta foul. That would have been a clear example of a blue card.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, that was in the last minute of the game or so.
I think it was pretty close.
It was very towards the end.
I was wrong on that.
It was very towards the end. It was Acosta. The blue card wouldn't have prevented him from doing that because he would have still done it at the same time because he would have been out. My thing with the blue card is it just seems like an extra thing for the ref to think about, to interpret it, like try to figure out what to do with it. Where, like you said yourself, and I agree with that, it's really not going to happen that often. And usually when it happens, the player's still going to do it. Maybe if it's on the offensive third in a counter pressing moment, maybe they'll do it. But then if that happens, the ref probably won't give it a blue card. He'll give something that's much more. He has to be certain that it was a tactical foul, right? Not maybe, in a counterattack, he tried to get the ball and he hit the player. That can be a yellow,
There's
really
a lot
blue.
of fouls where they're pulling their jersey, where they're grabbing their shoulder. It happens all the time where it's obvious.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though, guys. As a player, when I played, I knew I got one shot to do a tactical foul, and then I was done. Like there were no other opportunities for me to make a tactical foul again because I already had a yellow. I'm going to get another one.
You get one more after that.
Well, yeah, but then you're out of the game, so you're not going to do it again. That's all I'm saying. Like, as a player, I knew, okay, I got one of these to do. This is a desperate moment. I'm going to do it here. But then I knew my game was done. I had to play clean for the next 30 minutes of the game, or 45 or whatever was left. So I think there's already sort of an inherent punishment.
The other thing is that the blue cards were being implemented, at least by what they were posting on Twitter and everything, for dissent and cynical fouls. Tackling somebody to stop them on an attack or pulling their jersey, pulling them back is not a cynical foul. It's a tactical foul. It's to stop the play.
I think that's
you get
what
a yellow card worthy there.
By cynical. From what I read, that's the word they're using to describe those types of fouls. I think I could be wrong on that. That's the way I interpreted it when I read the description.
Maybe it's going to be one of those that once it's actually in practice and we see it, we might start to understand what's their main goal with it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
and if it actually works, when in theory it's one thing, when you actually put it, if it's actually going to be effective or not.
And
it's not going into the Premier League. It's going into like second, third division Italy, wherever it's going. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Now, use an example here. The foul that ended up resulting in a red card on the Forest Bournemouth game. I would classify that as more of a cynical foul than a tactical foul, because literally was a cleat going across Hudson-Odoi's Achilles heel. Yep. That's different than pulling him down or just taking him down because you got beaten. It's going to create a 1-on-2 or whatever. That was, I thought, dirtier.
I hope my interpretation isn't wrong of cynical foul. Maybe it's just something where they're trying to disincentivize really bad yellows. I thought it was more for goal scoring opportunities, but I could be wrong.
So this one question here too. None of what they're addressing is still addressing time wasting, which is still one of the biggest complaints of this sport.
Well, that's the MLS rule, which I think is maybe the best rule I've ever seen proposed in soccer, period.
Would you prefer that, or would you prefer what I was saying before of just make it 2 30-minute halves and stop the clock like we do in basketball, like we do in football?
No, because stopping the clock still slows it down for the viewer. This rule doesn't. This rule, after 15 seconds, they're going to hobble up and they're going to be limping, and the game is back on.
But Brett, more ads. I'm joking.
No. I think for the viewer, not for the player, because I mentioned it to a couple of players and they wanted to strangle me. Rightfully so. But for the viewers, this 2-minute rule could be game changing for soccer. Think about how many times players are rolling around on the field, sometimes in pain, sometimes just to try to get a yellow for the other player.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to speed up. I think it could be. It's hard to say, but I think it could be incredible for the MLS.
It is, but then you bring into the question of subjectivity. Now the referee's going to have to figure out whether or not this guy went down because he's wasting time, or this guy went down because Matt Miazga grabbed him by the testicles.
You gotta stop with grabbing the testicle.
Nobody. He did it. He did
it's extreme. We talk about extremes here. You know?
Wait, Derek, why does the referee have to decide? I don't understand it. It's subjective. 15 seconds, it's 15 seconds.
Yeah, but listen, if you get grabbed and you go down, you're going to probably be down for a while.
Either way, you're going out for 2 minutes. It doesn't matter if.
But it's not your fault, Matt.
Okay, I have a situation.
That's the rule.
I have a situation. What if this happens? 2 players of the same team collide, and they're not even wasting time. Let's say they're even losing the game. Do both of them have to go out for 2 minutes in that case? Like, is it open for interpretation? That's what I'm trying to understand.
I don't think it's open for interpretation, and that's why I kind of like it. It's an objective rule. If you go down for more than 15 seconds, you are sitting out for 2 minutes, period. If you, on the 14th second, it's like a boxer. On the 14th second, if you get up and start limping, you're okay. It's a very objective standard.
As soon as you go down, there's some motherfucker off the pitch that comes onto the pitch and starts counting. One.
The ref is just doing that on the.
Yeah, the ref's gonna go on his knee, just like 1, 2.
You're out of here.
Throw the white flag. Throw the white flag.
So I'm just saying it is objective. That's the only point I'm making. It is an objective rule.
Can you see they got to go back at use the VAR to see if it was 14 seconds or 15?
Yeah.
I mean, it gets complicated.
I mean, every rule has some elements of subjectivity, I suppose. But
yeah, I don't know. I just think we're overcomplicating this. But I understand you're coming from the right place. Brett, you want to do the right thing. We've got to be, and that's why they're going to test it first, right?
Well, and
I don't know if they're testing this. I think it's going full in the MLS next year.
Yeah, that could be
MLS. No, MLS, MLS already.
I'm talking about the blue card, but
yeah,
I think if it requires medical staff to come out, they should just bring out the stretcher, escort them off, and then you have the 2 minutes. But again, if somebody stomps on your foot, I mean, that's not a
that shit hurts.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get up eventually and
like deal with it and get up right away, man.
You got to get up after 15 seconds and man up. You don't think that NFL players are playing with more pain almost every play? We got to man up and just after 15 seconds, if you can't play, what I hate is when they grab out the stretcher and the guy's rolling around and everyone circles him, and then a minute later he's playing professional soccer. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. You're either hurt or you're not, and that's why I like this rule.
I like Brett's idea of if the stretcher has to come out, then you're in
Brett. The Brett.
I like if the stretcher comes out, you got to sit out for 2 minutes. That makes a lot of sense to me. But the 15-second count, that's a little weird.
I think it's going to change the game.
This is what I'm wondering with MLS too, because MLS has one of the most unprepared refs I've seen in professional leagues. I watch a lot of Premier League, Champions League, obviously, Brazil, and MLS, and the refs in MLS. Every league has crap refs, but the MLS ones, they just seem lost and confused. I don't know how often you guys watch MLS, but the refereeing is kind of bizarre at times.
It's CONCACAF in general, quite frankly.
CONCACAF, exactly.
Or CONCACAF, depending on who you talk
what
to.
I wonder is, are they adding, who's controlling, because the ref's not going to control 2 minutes, right? It's going to be what, the 4th ref? They're going to have an extra ref?
Yeah,
no, it'd be a 5th ref. It'd be some guy they hire from the boxing ring.
Oh, yeah, the boxing ring guy, yeah. Or a hockey guy, a hockey guy.
I do want to go back to the point you mentioned as far as the football players being injured and stuff like that. And do you think they're actually more hurt than, say, a soccer player who's hurt? The big difference there is if let's say you're playing football and somebody stomps on your foot. Yeah, again, that's going to suck. You go off the pitch or off the field, somebody comes in for you for a play or two, and then you're right back in. You can sub back in. Whereas in soccer, you can't necessarily do that.
That's right. That's true.
So that's my big argument against that, is that sometimes there has to be an objective take. Maybe the ref has to do an objective take as far as saying, yes, I think this is a legit injury. If they have to bring the stretcher over, 2 minutes, whatever. But I'm going to give him a few more seconds here than just 15 to.
How many times in NFL, to Brett's point, do you see guys limp off the field for 2 plays and then come back on? Happens all the time. All the time. You don't have that option in soccer because you can't just dilly-dally players in and out like you can in the NFL. You don't have that kind of rotation. So if you get hurt, and I don't know if you've ever been kicked in the shin, by the way, when let's say your shin guard was not on properly, you're going down, and it ain't going to be 15 seconds.
Let me counter that, because that's a great point about the NFL. You're right; they do come out for a couple plays every once in a while. That's actually a really good counter argument. But let me counter it. In football, if the cornerback or a defensive, whatever it is out for, let's say they had to keep playing with that, and they literally couldn't play, that's a touchdown. Pretty much every time they can't keep up with the wide receiver, it's a touchdown. So that's why they have to come out. In soccer, if you have to limp around for a minute, it's not the end. There's 10 other guys that can cover for you. So if you can't limp it off in a minute, you should probably, or 2 minutes, you should probably be subbed out, first of all. And if you can, then you don't need to be rolling around for 2 minutes. So it's a very fine line. There are cases in between. Don't get me wrong. There will be cases where somebody legitimately should have had a minute. But there's probably, for every one of those, there's 10 cases where somebody's just rolling around needlessly, and this is going to clean all 10 of those up.
I think we came to a compromise here, which I think is a good one. And I like the Brett's compromises. Hey, they got to pull out the stretcher. You're gone for 2 minutes. You're out. They got to come. The stretcher got to come on the.
They got to spray that magic spray on your balls. You're out. 2 minutes.
Right.
The chat wants the Gio Reyna topic.
All right,
yeah, we beat the shit on this rule.
Yeah, we beat the hell out of this one.
Yeah.
All right, let's stay with us, Brett. You want to?
Sure. Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Let's get to the Reyna topic, Brett.
So we'll get into the injury-prone topic here shortly.
Okay.
These goal.com articles. You have an article here that says didn't use me at all. Gio snubbed advice from U.S. men's national team teammate Matt Turner before completing January loan transfer to Forest. What do you think? What do you think Turner's advice would have been to Gio?
Put some glue on your gloves. No, I'm joking. No, I guess what I saw the interview. What Turner was essentially saying was if Gio had any questions about the infrastructure of the club, the city of Nottingham Forest, the teammates, it was more just to chat with a guy that's been there for 6 months and get a feel. It's like, is this the right fit for me? But I think Gio's mind was probably made up. He has the same agent as Nuno Espírito Santo, so Jorge Mendes' people probably already instructed him everything he had to do. Yep. We'll talk about the transfer soon. You guys know how I feel about it. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I'm very skeptical of it overall.
I think you're going to find that we don't disagree with your take on the transfer itself.
Right.
Perhaps just a certain word. So, but yeah, that was the whole point. That article, the title of the article made it sound like Gio, doesn't like Turner and just didn't take his advice or whatever. But basically, it was like, he just made up his decision. He's like, hey, he reached out to him. He didn't respond to me. Which makes me think that was going to happen.
But he said in the interview, but that's what Gio does.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
Yeah, it says right there. That's Gio's nature. Gio's nature.
He doesn't reply to texts and stuff like that. So,
but the same website has Matt Turner insists Gio Reyna has grown up a ton since 2022 World Cup fallout with U.S. men's national team boss Gregg Berhalter. So it's just you have one that's just clickbaity. You're like, oh, geez, what did he possibly do to snub our starting goalkeeper? He's done a lot to grow up as a kid,
So this is basically you're mocking goal.com.
I am absolutely mocking,
which is absolutely sensible because that's what they do here on this
I think
website.
They just have different people writing the article. So what happens at the end is they just clickbait whatever to get the clicks, and maybe some get paid by the click. I'm not sure. So I don't know how it works there.
Are you mocking me? Are you mocking me? Yes, I am mocking you. All right.
What I hate about StreamYard is when they put the super chat, they cover always the
last guy at the bottom. I know. Sorry, Brett. Jose Reyes for $5. Did Christmas hit early or late? Filippo and Brett O on the show. Cheers, boys. US. Yes, I guess. We wish you
hoping
a
for
Merry
no
Christmas.
after show. Filippo and Brett O on the show.
I'm fine with being.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. On the last article, I would say a lot of the guys have grown up a lot. When you're 18, 19, 20 years old, your rate of maturity every year isn't like ours.
Right.
Where 46 to 47, you're like, I think I'm degrading as far as
Brad,
maturity.
I'm still far from the 40s, man. I'm still maturing a lot every year.
Well, I didn't mean ours. I was talking. Okay, fine.
You get the cynical view of a 40-year-old. It's okay.
How old are you, Tack? How old are you?
I just hit 30, believe it or not.
Okay, so the difference in maturity from 29 to 30 is like 3%.
Yeah, you're right.
The difference in maturity from an 18-year-old to a 19-year-old, from a 20-year-old to a 21-year-old is like 12%. I'm making numbers up.
No,
so
it is.
These guys are growing a lot.
Actually.
Especially after what he's kind of been through off the field, you just kind of have to mature on your own when you're in those situations too. So,
Jack Pineda says for $5, he probably told him to get circumcised before having relations with his first cousin.
Wait, what?
What the hell?
Jack, don't you act surprised by this?
No, I'm not surprised. I just can't follow it. All right.
Feigning surprise, yeah.
But who's the he?
Turner probably told Reyna to get circumcised before having relations with his first cousin.
How do we know he's not already circumcised? All right.
That's fair.
So confused by that comment.
Yeah, look.
I have so many questions.
Next. That's not what we were debating here, man. That's not.
I know we haven't even got to the debate. Oh, here it is.
We're here. I told you we're going to get to it. Don't worry.
Injury history of Gio Reyna. Listen, Filippo, your argument, and you can correct me if I'm wrong and fill in the blanks, is that Gio Reyna is injury prone, and thus going to the EPL, which is a very physical league, may like Pulisic, which is kind of my disagreement. One of my disagreements.
Almost what I said. A little bit different, but almost.
Yeah,
until he proves otherwise, is what you said.
Yes, until he proves otherwise. Because the thing is, you look there at the history of the past 2 seasons, a lot of muscle injuries. Obviously, the last injury is not his fault. It was a contact injury. That's not injury prone. But what I said was he wasn't playing much for Dortmund. And my question is, when the load goes up, when they haven't playing more minutes, will those muscle injuries come back? I hope not, and I think not. But until proven otherwise, he is technically injury prone. Until proven otherwise, and the Premier League is not ideal for injury prone players. But again, maybe he's not injury prone anymore, and then that's not an issue. But that's one of my concerns with this move. The Premier League is much more fast paced, much more intense than the Bundesliga. Bundesliga is a transition league, so you see sometimes teams sit back a little bit, soak up pressure, and try to hit in transition. Premier League is more of it has improved over time, but if you go back to the early 2000s and I guess even the 90s, I was too young for the 90s, so I don't remember much, but it used to be a lot of kickball. If you remember the Premier League, teams used to love a 4-4-2, one big man, one second striker, and go long and direct. Super fast-paced, super direct. It still has some of that, and it's a very physical league, so it's not an ideal league for an injury-prone player.
I mean, that was very similar to what Forest did up until Reyna came in and they got that red card. They were playing a very direct game, very quick and forward-paced direct game. I did want to bring up the definition for prone is likely to or liable to suffer from. And I bring this up because he had one injury besides his broken leg.
It's the same one.
It's the same injury. He was never fully recovered. Now, of course, we're going solely off of what Dortmund's medical staff was evaluating. And he's healthy. Gio wants to go back on the pitch. Yeah, he's fine. He goes back out there. He re-agitates it. And a lot of these times he's re-agitating it's for one game. I think the biggest one was the 22 and then the 9. Mind you, I guess 22 plus 10 games of fitness. That seems strange in its own right. But it's not. You can't be prone to being injured if it's the same injury.
And they're pushing you. He wanted to come back. So this was actually the same muscular strain or problem or injury the whole time. He was just coming back too early and re-injuring the same darn thing.
But if you consistently have that same injury, you're injury prone, even if it's the same one. If it's not healing properly or you're not taking care of it properly or it's just something chronically wrong. I mean, we remember Claudio, he was an injury prone player after that knee injury that he had, if I'm not mistaken, was a knee injury. And then you start having a bunch of little muscle injuries. That's another thing that brought to attention of Gio Reyna. Is it going to be like his dad in that sense? But Gio
No.
was having muscle problems in multiple occasions, many injuries for a young player. I don't know if it was because he was growing. The Dortmund medical staff definitely sucks because we saw that with Erling Haaland. He was injured a lot with Dortmund, and then he went to Manchester City. He's been, obviously you get injured as a professional player, but the injuries went down quite a bit. Erling has been mostly healthy. But again, I looking at what you're putting right there, to me, that's an injury-prone player until proven otherwise. If he's not injured this season, then he's fine.
Look! It's been a year and a half since his last muscle strain.
He's not playing though, Brett. He hasn't been playing.
He's gotten between Dortmund and the United States. He's gotten about 1,800 minutes, which is roughly about half a season. Not a lot of minutes. I'll agree with you on that. But he's been playing, and he hasn't had an issue for over a year and a half.
And he's been training for a year. If it's one injury, I don't know if you can say injury prone. I also don't think he's recovery prone. So maybe he's just
he doesn't have Weston energy. I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Too, yeah. It'd be like if I blew my knee out playing indoor soccer, and I didn't know I blew my knee out because I even asked people. I hit the ground. It took me like 5 minutes to even army crawl off the pitch. I asked a bunch of people, "Hey, have you blown out your knee? What does it look like?" Oh, it swells up the size of a softball or whatever. Never had that happen. I waited like 3 or 4 weeks. Went back out on the pitch, running around during warm-ups, perfectly fine, cutting and everything like that. Blew it out 10 minutes again. Now, I'm not prone to an injury. I just never let the injury heal.
If you're getting back with your ex-girlfriend every 3 months and you keep having sex with her and then you break up and then you have sex with her and you break up, that doesn't make you a slut.
You've only been with that one girl, man.
It is the same person. You are loyal to that one person. So
yeah.
Listen, if we were to bring up, let's say, Fabian Johnson's injury report, and it wasn't, if you look at Fabian Johnson's injury report on Transfer Market, it's first of all, it's a mile long, but it's every single different injury. It's not the same injury over and over again. It isn't the same injury that didn't heal. It's all kinds of crazy shit. Like, I mean, from left to right, to me, that's an injury-prone player. Now, I'm taking this to extremes, obviously. Fabian Johnson's one of the most
it's right
players.
there on absences, Brett. It's covered by the ad.
You son of a gun. Stupid ad. I guess they got to get paid, don't they?
Now you're looking at a guy who's had every single injury from muscle tears to muscular problems to Achilles problems to back problems. The guy's all over. That's an injury prone. For me, this was the same injury that Reyna kept re-injuring. And now it's healed. That one injury has healed, and it's done. It should be done now.
On top of that, his injury report, if you look, also he has the broken leg. That was another one, but there's a healthy chunk of those quote unquote injuries
or flu
being illness, being sick.
Yeah.
So let me ask you one thing: was Pulisic injury prone?
Yes. He was.
But wait. Pulisic had a terrible muscle tear in that FA Cup final against Arsenal. Terrible one. Wait, was it Arsenal? Yeah, against Arsenal. And did he start getting other injuries? I mean, one of them was a contact injury. How is it different from Reyna's?
So I don't really blame the contact injury on
the
any player.
El Salvador one was like they hit him.
Right. So if someone breaks your leg, that's not on you. All right.
Here's his injury report.
But we are talking about muscle injury, hamstring, calf strain.
Well, that's just transfer mark how they wrote it, but it could be literally muscle injury. It could be literally the hamstring.
Well, I mean,
no. We're talking groin, abductor,
calf.
Yeah.
Calf strain and calf injury, I think, are the same thing. So then in that sense, I would say no.
Yeah, that's
ankle. I mean, coronavirus. I mean, come on. No.
How could he get that? Freaking injury prone.
Knee problems, thigh problems.
You're not calling Tyler Adams injury prone.
No. But Tyler, it's like one injury that's keeping him out for so long. It's one injury, yeah.
I think that's what Brett's saying about Gio.
Could be. Are we certain that Gio Reyna's injury was always the same one? Because
at
one point they said
based on the Dortmund reports. Yes, it's the same. It's the same re-injury. It's the same injury he came back too fast from and re-injured again, and he did it again after that. He did it another time. So
the case is good for us. Maybe he's not injury prone. This whole time I was thinking he might be.
Yeah.
No. Now look, if you guys are right, that's good for the U.S. men's national team. It means it was just one injury that they didn't treat properly, and it kept coming back.
And that wouldn't surprise you, would it? With Dortmund,
No, with Dortmund it wouldn't. But Pulisic,
Doesn't matter. Look at this.
Pulisic ever since he left the Prem, Pulisic, he's been playing. This season is the season he's probably playing the most minutes of his entire career, Christian Pulisic, and he's been extremely healthy. He had that little like muscle. It was like more of a muscle fatigue, but Pulisic's been healthy the entire season.
Did you ever?
I didn't realize there's a second page to this.
No, there is. There are multiple pages for Fabian Johnson. But did
No,
you
that's
ever?
Pulisic.
This is Pulisic.
Oh, Pulisic. Did you ever hear Pulisic's description of why he was continuously getting injured at Chelsea? His big thing was that he would go into practice, and he said he's learned not to do this anymore. And he would go balls out, 110% at practice.
Didn't Berhalter tell him to do that? It was Berhalter.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
And-
Berhalter told Pulisic to do that, man. I swear. Wasn't it in 2019 that he's like, yeah, he has to train as hard as he plays?
Yes.
So Pulisic got injured because of Berhalter.
Yes, essentially.
Well,
And he had nothing left when he got on the pitch, essentially, because he would go balls out in practice, and then it would show up on the field. His muscles were tired, and when your muscles are tired, that's when injury happens, and that's what happened to Pulisic.
Wasn't that the same reason why he was pissed off with Reyna at the World Cup, because he wasn't practicing?
No, it wasn't. No one said it was Pulisic. No one said it was Pulisic.
What?
It wasn't Pulisic that was angry with Reyna.
No. I said Berhalter.
Oh, Berhalter
was angry with Reyna.
I swear.
Should have been.
I might be going crazy, but you guys might remember. I think it was in 2019. It was something with Berhalter and Pulisic that Pulisic even, I think, got bothered by it because Berhalter said he had to train harder.
Yes.
I remember that.
No, I do too. I do. I remember the interview. And your other point was that will he play? You were concerned, red flag wise, that he may not get to play. In my
No.
Go
Will
ahead.
his minutes be significantly higher than Dortmund? He'll obviously play with the loan. It's just that will he play more, or he'll just get random minutes off the bench? That's what I said. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for
Funny we go to
clarifying.
that.
The game skits us for $4.99 says, I would have been happier with you stay somewhere in Germany or going to Italy. Yeah, I mean, listen.
Most of
the
us would have been, yeah.
The problem with perfect, if you're looking for more perfect, is sometimes the good is actually a learning experience for a player like Gio Reyna, where he's going to be forced to have to play more defense. He's going to be forced to have to actually play a game he's not used to. He's going to be forced to understand a different speed, which I think he's fully capable of handling. But the big thing when he went and he's going to go play for Nuno is I think Nuno wants to play or at least evolve Nottingham Forest into a different type of team. And I think Reyna's just the kind of guy he wants. And I think he will play. And I don't think he'll play a lot more than we think he will play. That's just my guess. But I could be wrong, of course. But that's why I didn't see it as a red flag, because of the manager tact, personally.
The manager also has the same agent as Gio Reyna, so I'm sure there were talks. I'm not saying Jorge Mendes is going to tell Nuno to play him, but it's more like, hey, he's my client. Do you plan on playing him? Otherwise, I can keep him at Dortmund. I'm sure there was some type of conversation. Hudson-Odoi played well last game. I don't know if he's out injured now. He did leave the game injured. The thing is, I watched that game,
in the FA Cup or not?
He played in the FA Cup. Yes, he came in late in the FA Cup. Yeah.
So
we'll go into this lineup that's up here right now in a second. We had this is by the way, this is Forest Football TV. He basically took Tactical Manager TV's name and changed it slightly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he talked about one of our early, or whether it was last show or the show before, we had played a segment of his where he talked about how Nuno wanted him.
Yeah.
So, and again, we're going solely off of the coincidence that Nuno happens to be on the same agent as Gio now, and then we're hearing from him saying that Nuno really wanted him.
It's not really a coincidence. It is, but
no, yeah. I'm just saying, is it a coincidence that he's there just because of that, or is he there
not just because of that, but definitely there's a connection. I mean, look at the two teams he was rumored to go. It was two of them. Nottingham Forest that has Nuno, he's a Jorge Mendes guy, and then Gerard Gattuso, he's with Marseille. That was the other team that Gio was rumored. He also is represented by Jorge Mendes, because I remember also that Gattuso had issues at Fiorentina because Jorge Mendes was trying to push his players. So that's why Gattuso even got fired from Fiorentina years ago.
No, you're right. You're right. It's not. He's there. He's there because they do have the same agent, and that conversation happened. But he's also there because I think Nuno sees him as a player that fits into what he'd like Nottingham Forest to evolve into, if even 10% or 15%. And we saw that when Reyna came in for the brief 15 whatever minutes it was, like there was more possession when Reyna had it. Now that's a small sample size, so we can't go crazy.
Real quick. Yeah, I got a lot of pushback because I made that same comment, and we talked about this last show. But I got a lot of pushback from some people.
Small sample size.
Well, he didn't touch the ball until the red card occurred. I'm like, well, I called you out on that bullshit.
Right, he did touch the ball. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, he was actually quite active in that 4 or 5 minutes leading into that red card.
I think when you look at this loan, you can't say things like, well, I would have rathered this. Gio probably would have rathered 10 other things.
Yeah.
But you have to look at it as sitting on the bench at Dortmund or having the opportunity to sit on the bench less in the Premier League. And I think if those are your options, and he's going to go back to Dortmund anyway, I think there's more to gain than to lose from it.
Yeah, I guess a little bit of the concern is like the Weston McKennie saga, where what happened at Leeds, and I know a lot of it is Leeds was more dysfunctional than this Nottingham Forest side, despite Forest also struggling. But it did devalue McKennie, and then during the summer, Juventus was not able to find anyone. Fortunately for McKennie and for all of us, McKennie came back and proved them wrong, and now he's a vital player for Juventus. But during the summer, there was no interest in McKennie, and part of that was because of his time with Leeds.
Well, I think Gio's being devalued sitting on the bench 82 minutes a game too.
He's dropped about
He is. That's why he didn't have many offers now. That's
what I'm saying. So he's not going to devalue. He's already worth, to me, way more than people would assume because he hasn't been playing enough. So I don't think he could possibly devalue himself less than what Dortmund was doing.
He's gone from 40 million to 15. So yeah,
maybe less than 15. Maybe even that people won't pay.
I know they were willing to pay it. Exactly, they weren't.
Tack to your point, he went. Weston McKennie went from 21 million at Juventus down to 18 million at Leeds.
Yeah.
And then
but wait, you're talking about transfer mark. What I'm saying is Juventus wanted Weston out during the summer. They didn't even take him to the US in the beginning. And then they wanted to sell him. And then there were some injuries. Allegri brought him in and he started to play very well. And he's like, okay, let's keep this guy. Kept giving him chances. And now he's easily a top 3 performer of that team this season. That's because Weston found a way to bounce back within his team. Look, Gio's situation was awful at Dortmund, and now that he's at Nottingham Forest, I hope it works out. I think this weekend he might actually start for them. They had an FA Cup in the middle of the season. We know Hudson-Odoi might not be 100%. And in the first game, it was only 10, 15 minutes, but you see from a technical standpoint, he seems to be a little bit ahead of that front 4 right there. Morgan Gibbs-White, Elanga. He seems to be a bit ahead. We'll see what they do with that.
Well, ultimately, he plays a completely different style than they do too. Again, before he came into the pitch, Forest were playing very much an English style game. The very counter-attacking, quick pace, get the ball moving forward, attack. When Gio came in, he's drifting in and out of the center, drifting to the left, passing, combining with players, simple passes. But
that's because they were playing man up too. They were playing man up, so they had more of the ball. There was,
but he was doing that in the 5 to 6 minutes before it too.
Yeah, and the thing with Nottingham Forest too is just, I hope Gio gets goals and assists, like shows what he can do. But this team is so garbage that Morgan Gibbs-White, their best player right now, that's what they tell me at least. And I watched him. Definitely can hold his own in the Premier League. Decent player.
Yeah.
He has 2 goals and 3 assists all season long, and he's been healthy for the most part. He missed like one game in the Premier League. And this team is just really hard to be productive. It's just
Gio
really hard.
Top goal scorer at the end of next game.
I can get a hat trick. More goals than Morgan Gibbs-White in one game.
He could be. Wowaski for $4.99. Thank you, friend. So he's not injury prone. I guess we're talking about Reyna, not
perpetual
here.
State of injury.
He's just in a perpetual state of injury. I don't know how you can say he's in a perpetual state of injury. Well, he was until 2022. He had the flu, he had COVID, and he had the same muscle injury that he re-injured over and over again. But that perpetual means forever. I don't know if you've looked
at I think he's trying to be funny and also make the point that there is we are kind of making semantic differences, but people should understand it's probably statistically better to have one lingering injury that you're having a hard time recovering from than 3 separate injuries, even if you're out for the same amount of time. And I think that's the only point that we're making is if you're going to look at those 2 scenarios and think which one is more statistically likely to miss more game time over the next 5 years, it's the guy with the 3 multiple injuries. And so all we're saying is nobody's saying we're not going to give him the durability of the decade award. All we're saying is that statistically, we would rather him be suffering from 1 injury multiple times than 3 separate injuries.
But now that you put that, who would win the durability of the decade award? Who's the player that we can think of that's like super durable? The guy's never injured.
It's gotta be. Well, I was gonna say it's gotta be Weston because he recovers so quickly.
No, A-Rob missed the camp. He was in. I'm trying to think of an American.
But I mean, that guy plays 90 like all day, every day in the toughest league, and then USMNT. He's like never hurt.
Dest is never.
Yeah, Dest is never hurt, but he also
he is now actually. He's gonna miss this weekend apparently.
I know, along with Tillman.
No, I think they're resting him because they have the Champions League.
Maybe that's it.
That's what I think it is. I don't think he's actually injured.
I don't think he's injured. Yeah.
Who's the most durable then, other than I would say A-Rob and maybe McKinney?
Still leaning into Weston. Yeah, still leaning into Weston. Because he even plays when he's injured too.
Yeah, you can't nominate somebody who's not playing 90.
That's true.
Yeah. A-Rob and also A-Rob is freaking playing with in the Premier League with the intent also.
Yeah,
up and down the field as a
35-degree weather, like every.
Horvath has never been injured.
Doesn't play.
Again, doesn't play. So,
okay.
Not working with the Pepe thing. I guess in summary, I just say I think that this is going to probably Will there be some? There'll be some turds to jump over here, but I think Reyna in general is going to be fine. I don't think he's going to get injured, and I'm sure they have the ambulances right there next to the gates just in case it happens. But I think he'll be fine. And he is 6'2". People don't realize, and even the commentators, the English commentators in the game, the last game when he came on, the guy's like, wow, I never really knew that he was this big of a boy. Yeah, he's a big boy. He's not going to be Aronson. He's not going to be eating turf all game long. He's not going to be on the floor.
He's not just tall. He's
bulky.
He's
a sturdy kid.
He's not Musa. He's not Musa, but he's built. I wouldn't want to mess with him. You know, he's not a skinny dude.
No.
I feel like unless you're taking a cleat to his shin, you're not taking him out. He's taking you out.
Mm-hmm.
And any 50-50, I think.
And now, could he get Stu Holden? Is it possible? Yeah, it could be. That could happen. But that could happen in Scotland. It's probably not going to happen as much in Germany, but it could happen. And but that's just the risk you take every day when you go out and you play in the English Premier League. That shouldn't stop anybody from taking, the opportunity to go there and learn. And I think he will learn a lot. He's gonna, unlike Dortmund, they're not going to have the majority of possession, but he can learn from that by how do you play when you don't have possession, which, frankly, we haven't played enough of that kind of game with the U.S. men's national team because we usually have all the possession playing other CONCACAF teams. This is an opportunity for him to learn what it's like to be the lesser team playing against the better team with the possession.
It's how a learning experience. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I think
in multiple ways. Instead of just sitting on the bench in the same safe environment on the same team, he pushed himself. I think, Tack, you're always talking about that. I think it's good that he did that.
No, I always appreciate a player that gets out of his comfort zone. And that I have to praise him because he could just stay with Dortmund and stay on the bench and get his paycheck and wait. But he is pushing to try to get minutes. I'm just rooting for him. That's all right now.
Yeah,
that's
we all are.
I hope he starts this weekend. I want to see him get a lot of minutes in the Premier League, see how he behaves in that league. Who do they play? Nottingham Forest actually this weekend.
Newcastle.
Tomorrow, right? Sorry, no, Saturday at noon, I think,
Saturday,
Eastern time. So for Brett, it's like 9 a.m. or so.
One thing I would say about Gio, I think we have to give him a couple things. One, I remember last year, we were kind of hoping that it would be more like this year where everyone's just kind of dominating and getting a bunch of PT. And I think most of the USMNT right now, we can't be much happier with the way this season is going overall abroad. Gio's like the one guy that we're that's just missing from that.
And Balogun could have done better this year.
Fair, but at least he's getting some PT and hopefully he'll build his way back. And
he scored today.
And he missed the penalty after.
Missed the PK though?
But he missed in the PK. Yeah, he missed in the
He
PKs.
did score good, so he ended his drought. Was it a league game?
Nah, it was a PK.
No, it was a cup, French cup.
It was a cup game.
Wait, the goal that he scored was a PK, or was
He scored a penalty kick and then he missed on penalty shootouts.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not really a goal. It's like,
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
For him in this state, I'll take any goal.
But the point I was gonna make about Gio is, and I wasn't around during I wasn't like in the locker room during the World Cup. Whatever happened. Obviously, it was probably not ideal, and there was some whispers about his attitude or whatever it was. But at least the way I see it, and you can feel free to disagree. He's been sitting on the bench. I think he went back to Dortmund thinking, I'm going to get a lot of PT. And he didn't. And he's been sitting on the bench, practicing hard, not saying a word, sucking it up, sucking up his pride, not saying one negative thing, not one report coming out about him being bitter or anything for month after month after month. I think it showed a lot of maturity.
Yeah, no, and I agree. He was not part of the crowd that was reported on Bild, Royce and others who had gone to the board and said, we don't want to play for this Terzic guy anymore. He doesn't play Dortmund ball. But he wasn't even a part of that coup, if you will.
No, but even in the World Cup, like you said, Brett, we don't know exactly what happened in the World Cup, or maybe you do, Brett. Maybe some people know more than others. But from what we know, Gio was told that, I think even Berhalter said that Gio was told that he was going to play a limited role. I believe that was Berhalter's words.
Correct.
And Gio was not happy about that, and the dissatisfaction showed in training.
Yeah.
Of course, there's limits to how much you can be dissatisfied, but at the same time, what was he, like 19 or 20? You're going to overreact. That is the player you want, a player that's going to, that wants to play, that it's not comfortable, like not happy with that. No, I'm not happy with this role. I want to play. Of course, there's different ways to show that, and you don't want to start to become a problem in the locker room. I don't know quite how bad Gio was in regards to that. But I still don't think the whole Gio Berhalter saga got worse, not because of Gio specifically, because that was resolved in the World Cup. Apparently, he apologized and they were all cool with each other. It was the Berhalter leadership conference, and then the Reynas, and then it blew out of proportion after that, obviously. So it wasn't like the whole drama. Gio was actually not really in it.
I agree. I'm just saying, whatever reservations USMNT fans had. And look, I'm 46, and I shouldn't date myself, but if I think that I'm one of the best players on a team, I don't know what team I could possibly be the best player on at this point, but let's just say. And the fan base thinks I'm like one of the top players on the team, and then the coach tells me before the World Cup even starts that I'm going to be a limited role. Man, I would probably lose my shit too. But forgetting that's not the point I'm making, because I wasn't there. The point I'm making is I think the fan base needs to recognize that I think any allegations of him having attitude problems, unless if other things surface, I think those should be erased.
Mm-hmm.
Two things, guys. If you want to catch up on all the GeoGate controversy, Derek and I had a quality couple segments on our channel. But two, Filippo, I like how when Brett was like, I don't know what team I'd start for. And you and I both went with our local MLS club.
I'm recruiting, Brett. If you want to play with
guys say?
I said Chicago, he said Orlando.
Brett, to add to your point too, one other sign of maturity from Gio Reyna is he did, along with Berhalter, to his credit as well, they did repair that relationship, at least in a professional manner, right? Gio could have just been, no, you had issues with my parents, I'm done, or just been very bratty about it. But we saw that on the stadium, the game we went to. Those two seem like they're just fine. We saw it on TV. So whether he likes Berhalter or not, it doesn't matter. The true feelings, professionally, he's behaving like a professional adult right now.
Absolutely.
Berhalter brought him out a birthday cake. So.
Oh, I remember that.
They must be on good favor.
That was awkward as hell, though, by the way.
Also,
he never even acknowledged Berhalter bringing him the cake. He never looked at him. He never.
They don't like surprises.
But but it was professional. It's not like as you said, he's not being bratty about it. He isn't like, oh fuck, Berhalter's bringing me a cake. What an asshole. No, he's just like, he went along with it. Everything was fine. And I think that's what we're going to see. We're going to see a professional relationship between the two going forward. And I think that, as Brett said, that he's learned through these turbulent times at Dortmund, where he is not a featured player any longer. He's not even somebody outside of the board. The board still at Dortmund believes in Reyna. They're pissed off. They've been pissed off. They leaked stuff to local German newspapers about, hey, you're ruining Terzic. You are ruining the value of our young players, and we're unhappy with you. But I think Reyna was not part of the coup there, the silent coup that was taking part. He's been extremely professional, and I think he's learned from all this, and I think he's going to learn from being at Nottingham Forest too, with Nuno. With Nuno.
I've heard that Terzic really likes Gio. That's like from a couple people that freaking know.
Yeah,
so it's weird. It's weird that he's not playing. I don't think it's a relationship issue.
No, I think it is a style issue. Terzic has certainly changed the way Dortmund played since last season. They're much more conservative this season.
Well, guys, you got to remember too, Terzic, like in the midfield, he likes those workhorses in the midfield.
Yes.
And on the wings, he likes pace. Gio's not a pacey player. And in the midfield, he's more of a control the tempo, like more in possession, technical player. He's not a workhorse. And like Brandt is a good player, but Brandt's a little bit of a workhorse, dude, when you watch him play. He's like running out like a Mason Mount like player instead of a Gio Reyna that is more of like a, I don't know. I don't want to compare him to, but more of like what Kevin De Bruyne does.
A skilled Aronson.
Yeah, much more. Yeah, much more skilled than Brendan. But you get what I'm saying.
Derek, what's your description of Gio, Derek?
Languid. He appears to be languid, and that's the thing.
He does. It's weird, right? Watching him, but he's actually fast.
He covers a lot of ground really quickly when he wants to, but it doesn't look like he's fast.
It's such a Pulisic looks like he's been shot out of a cannon.
Yeah, exactly.
Gio looks like he is like a wobbly deer, but he's running just as fast.
That's a great way to word it. Yeah.
And I used Gerrard as an example the other day. Steven Gerrard looked like he wasn't moving, but he was like a gazelle. Like it didn't look like he was moving fast, but he was moving
fast.
Kaká
too. Remember Kaká?
Yeah.
It didn't look like he was fast, but the pace was one of his strengths when he played.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So I always say he appears to be languid. That doesn't mean that he is languid. And people watch the game, people who don't, I don't know if they really understand what they're seeing, but they're like, yeah, he's not fast. He's slow. He doesn't care. He doesn't play defense.
He's still not a workhorse like a Mason Mount, Conor Gallagher. He's still not that.
No. But what's funny is like people think because of his head's down and sometimes he looks a little like you were saying languid or whatever. But have you seen the videos of him like getting in people's faces? It's fucking hilarious.
Yes.
That guy does. I mean, he is dialed in. I don't care what he looks like through body language. He's dialed in.
And this time at Nottingham Forest is going to require him to be more of a workhorse. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. He's been on a great team at Dortmund where he hasn't had to be a workhorse. Well, maybe Terzic has changed now. Now he wants more workhorses, where that wasn't really the case with Dortmund 2 years ago, 3 years ago. That wasn't the case. You always had the artistic flair. There was always somebody on there who was allowed to be an artist. But he'll be required to do that at Nottingham Forest. And that's a good way to learn that, there are other responsibilities that players have on teams, and it'll be a good experience for him. Just my personal.
I agree.
All right.
Fumar says, not languid, LOL,
deliberate. Yeah.
And Derek, when none of us are talking and you're talking and I got a guy up here covering your face, it looks like they're in the chat or they're in the conversation, not you.
I know it's weird, but I mean, it's more appropriate to have the guests not covered than me.
Real quick, just to cover a couple of these super chats.
Al Weinstein, we got to cover all these super chats first before we get off. Get off. That doesn't sound good. All right. Al Weinstein for $9.99. Two things about Gio at Forest. One, mentally, the bottom of the Prem is a grown man's game. Moody doesn't cut the mustard. Oh, all right. So we're sticking with the Moody theme. Two, his style of play is what loses games at the bottom of the table. Yeah, I'm going to disagree with both of those, Al. I don't, and I'll let the others reply. But my gut instinct is he's gone there to cut the mustard, number one, and learn how to play and deal with the circumstance, or else he wouldn't have gone. He wouldn't have gone there. And then his style of play, well, that's something that's going to evolve based on his situation. He's going to have to play a different style. He can still do what he does, but he's going to have to add other features to his game. This is a good challenge for him. So those are my original thoughts. I'll let you guys take them from here.
From the multiple years that I've watched the Premier League, he's not off on his second take right there. His style of play is what loses games in the bottom of the table. And we saw that a little bit of when I think it was Everton when they brought Sean Dyche. The bottom of the Premier League is that fine line between EFL championship style of play and Premier League where you grind out results. It's not really about being the most technical team.
True.
And Gio Reyna is just not that. But to your point, Derek, what you were saying, Gio's going to have to adapt that. Yes, if he does play his style of play where it's more of a player that dominates in possession and is not as much of a workhorse, even though I don't want him to become a workhorse, it is a problem for the bottom of the league. It's more of like a grind results out, scrape a draw. That's why Sean Dyche is just so good at it to get the points. That's how he knows how to get those and escape relegation. It could be a learning curve for Gio. It'll be something that he actually never dealt with because Dortmund is a dominant force in Germany. The US is a dominant force in CONCACAF. So now he's going to play with a team that is most certainly not a dominant force in its own league. His style of play is what loses game, sure, but maybe he learned something from it. Mentally, it's a grown man's game. That one I don't agree with because the Premier League in general is a grown man's game, man. Doesn't matter where you play in that league.
And yeah, and I don't think Nuno.
At the bottom, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. I don't think Nuno is gonna. Like I said, I think Nuno wants to slowly evolve this team forward as they get a little bit further outside. And listen, the relegation zone, yes, it's still there. It's still a threat, but I do think that they're far enough above that I don't think Nuno's panicking. I think Nuno will want to slowly evolve the way Nottingham Forest play. And I think Reyna was a part of the piece to help him do that. I mean, that's me being extra positive, which I'm not usually. I'm massively cynical. I also want to say to Al Weinstein, we love you, brother. We just don't always agree. For $9.99, that's almost a reach around.
So I think second point is very possible, but it's also very possible that somebody like Gio is the type of player that could elevate a team that's bouncing around the lower half of the table to being a more consistent team. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it depends. It really depends. We'll see what happens. I think if Gio got more time against Bournemouth, I think it would have been different.
There's two possible scenarios. One is it's a dumpster fire and he ends up pulling a McKennie, which could happen, and that would be a great thing. He gets back to Dortmund and plays twice as well. Or two, he establishes himself as a legit Prem player and gets attention from higher up teams. So there's two ways that we could possibly win here.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I guess also the way to wrap things up on this Gio thing is if things don't work out at Nottingham Forest and then they don't work out after, then maybe just wasn't good enough. So if you're good enough, you're gonna figure it out at some point. McKennie is proof of that. As soon as McKennie figured out, I was like, got to get in shape, got to be fit, got to take care of myself. We knew he was good enough, and it shows. Gio has to show that. That's the thing.
Do you even think there's a chance he's not good enough?
Gio, no, I think he is good enough.
I don't think there's even a chance.
I think we all agree there. Yeah. Do you have another?
I'll put like there's a very tiny percentage. There's always a tiny, but no, I don't believe he's not good. I believe he is good enough.
Right. Do you have another super chat, Brett? If not, stop.
You want more money, Derek?
Well, I don't know. I know Brett's in control of all this stuff. All right, the Brett. Stratman, strategy man. $4.99. Thank you, brother. Great conversation, boys. Many of us wondering what time will you be transitioning to stepsister relationships therapy. Thanks in advance. At the very, very end of the show, Stratman.
Yeah, I won't be here for that. I won't be here.
Well, we'll be signing off here real soon.
Filippo will be in the chat though, listening because he wants the advice as well.
No, I won't. I will not.
That's why I jumped on, guys. I don't know.
That's why we brought Brett Oppenheim here. That's what.
Yeah. Stepsister advice. Yes. Brett, is that it? Are we done? The Brett?
I mean, you can't see my things. I've got we got the midweek report. We've got
midweek.
We got a bunch of stuff. It's still cover.
No, we're not going to cover that. We're going to let these guys go to bed. I'm going to say that the only thing you need to know about the midweek report is that Haji Wright was back and he played and he scored a goal. Coaching played 90 for Barcelona's U19s. Justin Che went another 75 for Adeo. Aronson went 8. Turner went 90. I mean, it was pretty good, but there were moments.
He won the player of the match.
Derek, let me ask you about coaching. What do you think about him?
I think it's way too early to say, Brett. I
Well,
mean,
I'm not saying like a starting on the USMNT, but I mean, he might be one of our few potential world-class players.
it could be, but my problem is I've seen too many players go. I mean, I could name a couple that went to the Barcelona Academy. Conrad.
Letterman.
No, but it's different. This guy's being groomed to be like the starting Barcelona goalkeeper. He traveled with them and started it in the US. It's different than being at he's not just at the academy. The guy's on the freaking roster sometimes.
No, but
Conrad,
so was Letterman and so was Conrad. That's my worry.
Oh, yeah?
That's why, I don't get too excited even though somebody's at the Barcelona Academy anymore. I used to, but I don't anymore because Conrad was there. And so was Letterman, and then Letterman
the issue too is Barcelona historically they don't really develop goalkeepers that I can remember.
That's true. Yeah,
so that's one. I mean, you also, if you're in the Barcelona Academy, you're definitely no scrub. That's the first thing.
You're not a scrub. Yeah.
The problem with goalkeepers is unless you're like Donnarumma that was super young, they usually don't really start to show off until they're like 24, 25. It takes so long to develop.
Yeah.
I think at least we have coaching now. We have Slonina, Brady. So we need one. You only need one goalkeeper. We need one to pan out and then have a good
we got
backup.
good odds in that position. We got good odds.
I would like to have some form of backup, though. We're seeing this now with Turner, and a lack of confidence. Who's our backup at that point? Ugh.
Yeah. Oh, but Tack. What team does Slonina play for?
Slonina?
Yeah.
Eupen.
Yes.
Eupen.
Yes. Eupen.
I'm a pirate now. Eupen. No, but
got
people were
it.
asking there in the chat. Let me just address one thing about the Asian Cup thing on Twitter. That the entire continent of Asia decided to come after me. Mostly the Middle East. All I said was, since Jordan made it to the final of the Asian Cup, which is being played in Qatar, by the way, which is where we play the World Cup, all I said is that to me that is evidence that the U.S. men's national team would absolutely be a contender in the Asian Cup if we played. I don't think it's controversial. I think if the U.S. was playing the Asian Cup, we would be contenders. Would we win it? Who knows if we would win it? You could lose a game. We could lose to Japan. We could lose to South Korea. We could lose to Iran while playing there.
But that couldn't have been all you said, man. No one's going to get up your ass.
I swear, show the tweet. They freaked out, Brett. They freaked out on Twitter about it. They called me.
Let me see the tweet. Let me see the tweet.
Arrogant American exceptionalism. But they start calling me everything about it. I was like, what did I say that was so? Brett, I'll send you the tweet. Let me send it to. I'll send it to D Brett, and he'll put it on screen. That is all I said. I said nothing controversial. I even called Pete because I was like, Pete, did I? Like, and he was like, no, I don't. He was like, I don't get it. I just sent it to you.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is that Tact even had people coming at him with the '98 World Cup game against Iran.
Yes, they went crazy. The Brett I sent
you. You lost. It was like you lost to Iran. Blah blah blah. I'm like, well, we also beat Iran. What's the point?
In '98.
No, seriously, put the tweet on screen because read it. Let Brett read it so he can say what is so controversial about this.
There's nothing controversial.
Obviously, I put like a laughing emoji because I was making fun of it a little bit. But anyhow, that's all I wrote.
Jordan has made it to the Asian Cup final by eliminating Jurgen Klinsmann in South Korea. Now, Jordan made it to the final, and there were people trying to convince me that the U.S. men's national team could not win the Asian Cup.
I think it's a little bit different than what you said, only because I think it could be interpreted or misinterpreted in a way that means that we would just go there and crush. Whereas you just said that we would be potentially, in the top category of top two teams, which is, I think, undoubtedly true. But that could be interpreted as, he thinks that U.S. is just going to come in here and crush, which, if you take it that way, it's it could.
Even though, let's be honest, besides like the only two teams that on paper are better than us right now, there, in my opinion, is Japan and South Korea, or at least South Korea is more top heavy. They have two players that are better than our players, Son and Kim May Jae, whatever, the guy from Bayern Munich. Jack from Deadball TV. But what happened is the other teams, what they were claiming was essentially like the U.S. can't beat them away. We literally beat Iran away. We played in Qatar, which is where this tournament is being played. And Iran made it to the semifinals. Qatar lost in the group stage in the World Cup they hosted. This Asian Cup is being played in Qatar. We could absolutely make it to the final. And honestly,
I don't think
the only-
anybody's disputing that we can make it. That we probably would make it to the semifinal, if not the final.
they were disputing it.
I just think I think they interpret it as that you think that we would just go there and dominate and win every time without even, that's the way they took it.
No,
Of course, I think we would be a top 3 or 4 just on paper.
Yeah, I agree. I think people just took a leap and thought you were being.
Well,
and this is the thing. This
well,
is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. They made.
Look at this. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say they just took a leap and they made assumptions about you that are not true. I mean, I don't think
I like that.
Like you're not going to say that we would dominate it. Of course, you're not saying that, but people are assume that's what you're saying. And then when they hear that, what they do is go 4 steps beyond, and then they're making ridiculous.
This is the thing. The reason I tweeted it that way, to add context to anyone that missed it, if Debret looks on my previous tweets, a few days before, I think when Japan was knocked out by Iran or something, I made a joke. No US related. I made a joke.
Yeah.
You might not be able to find it deeper. And when I did that, there were fans that came after me saying the US men's national team would never win it. The US men's national team would get knocked out on the quarterfinals. This and that. That's why I tweeted that. It's like, guys, if Jordan can make it to the final, the U.S. is absolutely a contender right there. They could win it. And people were telling me there was no way they could win it. So there is that context to it. I wasn't bringing up the United States out of nowhere. It's because people came after me.
Nobody's blaming you, Tack, on this channel. I'm just saying that.
No, I know. On Twitter.
You're fighting like a pre-existing mentality that people have against Americans for us being kind of this American exceptionalism, USA kind of people, which there are a lot of those people in the US.
There is, yeah.
So you're fighting that pre-existing assumption, and that's why it triggered it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and see, MLS Buzz is there. How is this an unpopular? He wasn't understanding why people were attacked. Like, this is a pretty normal take that people. I'm not saying, like, I would never go and say we're gonna win the Copa America. I'll say we have a tiny little chance of winning the Copa America at home. Very unlikely. I don't expect it to happen. In the World Cup, almost 0% chance, in my opinion, but especially with all the knockout rounds. But the Asian Cup, that's like, it's literally one level above the Gold Cup.
All press is good press, bro.
Yeah. I wouldn't get too worried about it though, because I just got basically canceled from a guy who I basically praised for being able to auto-fellatiate himself. And so on Twitter, you're going to see those kind of things. No, you guys
accuse me of that anytime, Derek.
Exactly. I thought it was a compliment.
You got to remove.
There's only one of 2 scenarios you can do that: an incredibly flexible lumbar, or a better scenario.
Derek,
go ahead.
Can I address one thing on the chat? Because I also talked to 2 Feet Elite on Twitter. I talked to her on Twitter about this.
Yeah.
And I know soccer is not played on paper. That is 100% true. But let's just use the World Cup as an example. Historically, there has literally never been a World Cup where a top 4 favorite hasn't won. Look at the World Cups.
It's true.
There has never been one. It's not played on paper, but most of the tournaments, the favorites, not the favorite, but the favorites win. Premier League, Bundesliga, Champions League. Usually the best team wins on paper. Usually. With some rare exceptions. So it's not played on paper, but yes, usually the best teams on paper are the ones that win. That's factually true. Like for 90% of the tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, freaky things happen everywhere, not only in porn, but Leicester won championship, right?
Well, Richard here says we'd be lucky to even get out of the World Cup groups stage.
That we were lucky. I wouldn't call that luck, but this is what I mean, though. This is exactly what I mean. You're fighting. This guy already has an inclination that a lot of Americans have this kind of rah USA exceptionalist attitude, and a decent amount of us do, which gives people like this that impression. And you're fighting against that. So this is a perfect example of that.
Yeah, and this guy's Iranian, based on his last name. So
it was mostly Middle Eastern people that were very angry. It wasn't really Japanese, or Southeast Asia area. It was mainly like Iran. I don't know, man. Not that good at geography.
He's probably Iranian American, and there are lots of those
It's
here.
Iran. They're going to come after you for the pronunciation.
Yep.
It's
They already
Iran.
did earlier, Derek.
That's fine. Iran. Here's a guy, by the way, when I was, 8 years old and in middle school, when the hostages came back from Iran, got to meet the hostages at my elementary school in West Point, New York. So I know a little about Iran. Sorry, can't pronounce their name of their country appropriately, but we'll work on that.
That's a cool experience, though.
Yeah, no, I have pictures of myself with them. But
was
yeah,
was Ben Affleck there?
Real quick.
Ben Affleck.
Wasn't he in the movie about the Iranian?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah,
It was
no, he wasn't. Unfortunately,
what was that movie called? Argo. It was Argo.
Yeah, that was a great movie. But,
yeah,
one of his best directed movies.
Two Fleet Elite says so. The Asian Cup final
Wow.
has only one player in the top 5 European. Yeah, I mean,
34
listen,
European players knocked out. The U.S. lost to Trinidad. Shit happens.
No, I guess what they're saying is like there's more rotation of like champions there because there's more parity among the teams. There's no superpower. There's the top teams, but there's more parity. And I get that. The Brazilian league is somewhat like that. You'll see, like I said multiple times, Palmeiras has won the league 2 times or 3 times the past 20 years. They also got relegated 2 times the past 20 years, which if you think about Europe, that's unheard of. It doesn't happen. So I get that. I get what she's saying, but my overall point is anyone that says the US would not be contenders, let's put it this way. If the US played 5 Asian Cups, I think the odds of winning 1 is pretty damn high.
I got to say this though, watching Japan and Korea going out of the Asian Cup, watching both of those teams and how flaccid they were in attack reminded me a lot about watching players trying to play tiki-taka or which ends up looking like Berhalter ball, where they're so incompetent in the final third, nothing gets done. And the other teams like Jordan, they just played smart. They were smart. They played yes. Was it beautiful? No, but you know what? It was still fun to watch. And I hope we're not beyond a point where we can't watch a game and go, you know what? I respect Jordan for what they did and how they played regardless. They knew their limitations. They played, up and around to those limitations, and they won the game. And that's what mattered. Like, not everybody has to play or try to play some version of tiki-taka or Barcelona ball or possession ball to the point where you want to fall asleep. Because frankly, that's what I want to do a lot of times when I watch some of those teams play. So go ahead. That was a rant.
Iceland and Wales made it far in the Euros. Greece won it one year. I mean, it's again, to the 2 Feet Elite's point here, coaching matters, tactics matters, mentality matters. Yes, absolutely. It doesn't matter.
You know what matters the most, Brett?
Out
of that form.
Stepsisters.
No, not step form. Because this is one thing people don't talk about too very often. These tournaments are super short. If you catch fire, catch good form during it, you go. These are not leagues for it's literally like 20 days.
I'll still take talent over that. Look at the Chiefs. They weren't in form and they're in the Super Bowl. I would take talent even over form.
There was no way Japan.
I can't argue with that. I don't know. They have Taylor Swift, don't they?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's got to give you a boost somehow. That's got to boost you somehow.
She doesn't play tight end though. She might have one, but she doesn't play one.
Jokes make it something.
Her boyfriend plays the tight end spot. Kelsey, is that his name?
Yeah, he's an awesome guy. Actually, I got to hang out with him. He's awesome.
Travis.
Yeah, he seems like a nice guy. So all good powers to him. For whatever.
You guys want to just like 20 more minutes on the 2-minute rule in the MLS? I'm kidding.
Let's do it again, guys. Let's start from scratch. I'll find the articles. We'll do it again, guys. Let's go.
I was about to say I got to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, I can't. I
20 minutes.
Subscribers a minute if we talk about that again.
Yeah, I don't know. No pills could help me get hard for that conversation again. But I did want to thank Brett Oppenheimer, not Oppenheimer, not the Brett, but Brett.
Oppenheim, not Heimer.
I'm sorry. My history.
I don't care, man.
No,
I'm glad I actually. It's been a while. I've been meaning to jump on, so thanks for the opportunity.
No, we're out of our shoes that you guys are both here at the same time. It's fantastic. We loved having you both on, and I really like the fluidity of the conversation. That's not something you get on every show. I mean, you can go watch other shows. They don't sound like this. So, Filippo, thank you for coming on and having the big debate. Bloodying my nose. I mean,
that's weird, man.
I know my floor is like
quick one too, man. You got fucked.
So every time you stream now, you need to have some tampons there.
I'm sorry. I'm divorced. There are no longer any tampons.
You buy some because you might need them.
That would be a little. No, it's not completely weird. It wouldn't be the first time I bought tampons, actually. When I was married, I bought them on occasion. I mean,
probably the first time you bought them for yourself, I would hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Derek was transitioning, but he gave
You're hitting puberty, so it happens.
You're at that age, Derek.
I gotta buy the tampons. I guess so. I mean, they probably would stick up. My nose keeps growing, so they probably would fit there. And anyhow,
you'd open it up and it'd fall right out. I'm like, God,
I have to buy the
really.
I have to buy the smaller ones. What is it? The petite.
Size? Why is it just my nose and my ears that's growing? This is not right,
guys. I don't think you're gonna.
You're the expert, Derek. None of us know.
Yeah. I can, outside of my area of expertise there, man.
Well, I'm not really good with tampons either, guys. So, all right. We love you. Everybody else, make sure you like, subscribe, and, make sure you follow these two guys on Twitter as well. Important that you do that. And we'll be back with all our stepsister advice here. I don't know what on, what is it? Thursday. We'll see you then. Great. We love you.
See you guys.
That hurt.
Then what is this thing?
Gio should never play for U.S. men's national team again because of the action of his parents.
What an idiot! Oh!
What type of Muppet does this?
Muppets. Absolute Muppets.
I'm not going to be the best person to give a whole explanation here, but that's...
Booty, booty! Sick, sick! Booty!